call the meeting to order at 18:31. We had Janet and John Hume, is that correct? Woodard? I'm sorry.
She's Janice.
Guess what, if I write it down, it'll work.
Janice.
I get it.
And Woodard.
And they sign the sign-in sheet,
Okay.
so we can get that from them.
Okay, article number 1, citizen comments. Quick review about the citizen comment portion of the assessor meeting. Back a year ago, citizens weren't even allowed to comment. Legally, we don't have to allow citizens to participate or speak in an assessor's meeting. I think that's pretty poor politics, because the people need to have a forum to speak. And so what we had done is they put it at the end, which, you know, some people have something that they wanna come in, they wanna talk about, they don't wanna sit through all of this, cause a lot of it is just nuts and bolts business of the town. So that's, and then just to go over that, so we're putting it in the front now. And then also, it was always at the end, if you wanted to go back and talk about a particular article, then you had to do it at the end. Made no sense to me, because we're at the end, we're an hour and a half, and then if a citizen has a comment about the first article that you spoke about, everybody's like, we talked about that 2 hours ago, and you're having to backtrack. So what we would like to do is, when we're discussing a particular article, when we think that we're done, or if at any point in time, anybody wants to intervene, if you put your hand up, okay? It'll probably be at the end, but again, that's the time to be talking about that article, is at that time, not at the end and going back to it. That's my opinion, if that makes any sense to you. I could not get Sandra to agree to that.
And if the agenda appears on the website at some point, then citizens will know what their comments are going to be, and they could come and right away.
Right, and we're hopeful to get to that point.
Well, I know,
We're
but
still-
it'll take
yeah,
time, but
yeah.
I'm just saying, it makes total sense to have it in the beginning, because,
Absolutely.
Right.
So this right now, citizens' comments, is an opportunity for citizens to come in and bring up things that aren't necessarily on the agenda.
exactly.
Maybe their
That's
street
right.
light is too bright, and that's not on the agenda,
That's
but
right.
they want
Right.
the townspeople to know.
Exactly.
So this is an opportunity for people to bring up stuff that's not on the agenda, and then as we go
Right.
through the agenda, if you want to comment
On that agenda
Exactly.
item.
on that
Exactly.
agenda item,
That's the time
you
to do
have
it.
an opportunity to do that, so.
Good.
So hopefully, we all are embracing, you know, participation
That's right,
from everyone,
that's right.
yeah.
Thanks.
Probably it'll be, we may, if it gets going, we may have to limit it at some point.
Sure.
I don't wanna sit here and say we're gonna do a hard 2 or 3 right now, but we'll see how it goes,
Right,
you know?
right.
But it's not a forum for somebody to just get up and go off on a wing and on
No.
a tangent, you know what I mean? They need to have something specific and meaningful to say, that's my feeling, you know, so.
Mhm.
In the future, when the agendas are published ahead of time to the public, most towns I've been a part of, people have the agenda, and so they know they can provide their comments at the beginning for agenda items,
Right,
which might even be more prudent, you know, to give us time to think about what was said before we make any decisions
That's
on it.
exactly right,
So-
you have your
true enough, we
information.
have gotten
That's
the
right.
input prior to.
Right.
Yeah. Massachusetts requires that by law, any
Yeah.
public meeting, you have to address citizens' comments in the beginning. You don't have to vote on the agenda item then, but you gather that information,
Yep.
and
That
then
makes-
it's
that
done,
makes sense.
and you've
Yeah.
got that information, and you do with it what you want.
Yep.
So,
It's nice.
with
That's
that in
good.
mind,
Yeah,
we have some citizens here. Do any of you have anything that you would like to comment on?
I'm all set, I'm happy as can be.
We're not official citizens, we're property owners, but
Right.
we don't live here.
Where are you at? You have a camp?
We have a camp.
Where at?
It's on, the North Shore Professors, group there.
Oh, okay.
Pleasant
The old
Pond.
map camp.
Yep.
Right up by where
Good to
we-
meet you.
Lives right, Camp or two, right beside Virginia, right in that
Well,
area in the Bay
there's-
Area.
With,
The Batemans are
She's-
between us and her.
Okay,
she's 3 over.
gotcha.
So do you have something, folks have something specific on your mind, or are you here to?
She's here to give you support.
Oh, that's
Very
awesome.
nice.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, the Senate article is website and email. And I'm going to start, introduce this a little bit here. We have no question that we have to do something to update the way our emails work internally. I don't really know, how to do that. I think it seems like to me that, Susan and Justin both have much more IT, knowledge and background than I do. But, and I don't know the best way to do it, but what I'd like to see is that we have a general email, which would be the Forks Plantation. It doesn't have, I'm saying that because what we have right now is at myfairpoint.net, right? And then it would be, first assessor at the Forks Plantation at, you know what I mean? Second assessor, no names, third assessor.
Yes.
So somebody could direct an email directly to that person. However, I think we still need a general email for
Right.
people to come into. What I do right now, and what Sandy always did, is I come in and look at those emails. I actually get rid of a lot of them because they're, like the Bangor Daily News comes in, they're ads from Staples to buy office supplies.
Right.
And then I move some of them, like we get stuff from the MMA, I'll read it. If it doesn't, it's just informational, I
Yeah.
put it under the MMA. If it's something that I think these folks need to be involved with, then I forward it to it, but I'm forwarding to them to their, like, their own home
Right,
emails,
Right,
basically.
so they can.
So what I would
keep
like
it.
to do is if something came in to, say, the Forks Plantation at myfourpoint.net, and it was towards Evan, I see it's in the general mailbox, I send it to Evan,
Right,
or treasurer at
Right,
myfairpoint.net.
right.
So I don't know the best way to make that happen, but I think that's what we're looking for, isn't it, folks?
So,
Yeah.
right at the beginning, I mean, the reason why this is number 2 on the agenda is because I thought Peter might be able to come and actually speak about this. So Peter Coughlin right now is our,
Is your host?
He's the person who manages the
Yeah.
website.
Right,
And I just got in touch with him, he's already posted, the town book on the website, and I asked him not to do the minutes for the town, meeting yet, because they haven't been approved, but tonight
okay,
they may be approved, so I said I'll let him know. So we're already, trying to fill in some gaps, and I didn't get the agenda on there, I just pretty
That's
much finished doing it, but, theoretically, we'll have this done a week in advance.
And on the website so people can look at it.
And so
And-
so you can do emails that are affiliated with your website, with your ISP, or with Gmail. So that's something that, I don't know what the best method is. I think that with our website, we might get like 5 email addresses for free. And maybe with, Consolidated, we might get another 5 for free, but we probably wanna use, because Consolidated is myfairpoint.net. And I don't know what the end, would be for the website, because we don't have any emails that are affiliated with the website. Currently, it is a Catalyst, software that is used to, manage the website. And I don't know much about it, but, when we had a conversation way back in February, Peter Coughlin said that it's not very intuitive, and that, he didn't really want to let other people try to manage it. He wanted, and nor did Sandy, so his thought was that we would just feed him documents for him to populate. But when we met, we had a whole list of things that we wanted to make it look a little bit more, uniform, and there was a lot of
Get rid of old
duplicate
information.
information, there was old information, there was just, it was a
We'll
mess.
we'll be able to put some links in at some point too, like to the Chamber of Commerce. or,
And
you know,
to BMV, like rapid renewal for a bunch of dog licensing, whatever, a whole bunch of things. And so we had a list of items that I generated and sent to the board, and I know I mentioned this during the town meeting. And essentially I think there was just too much other stuff going on, and it just, whatever, it didn't get, it wasn't a priority at the time. So,
I think it should be a priority now, though.
It wasn't
I do
a priority
too.
for a year.
and I think that Peter would be a good resource, but, you know, Justin, if you have, if you have some input and you wanna, get in touch with Peter, or we could probably have him come visit.
Sure.
He's really, very, very, open to working with us.
Yeah,
And
is Peter Coughlin someone known personally, or was he just a contract that we
he
found
was
our way
somebody
into?
that Judith and Sandy, I guess Catalyst has some, like towns use them because there's more, I don't know, some protection from whatever
I talked to actually a guy I went to college with, went into web design, and he ended up working for a firm that specialized in municipal websites for, towns much larger than ours. I checked in with him, he's since moved on, he's actually a teacher now, but he's still very good, and he'll be a good sounding board for me. I do recall though that the reason they specialize in municipal websites because there's so much more scrutiny and requirement and ADA accessibility and stuff that really gets looked at more. I mean, technically, legally, if you own a website on the internet and it's not ADA compliant, you can be sued no matter if you're a small business or,
Okay.
or a major government organization. But most people are, scraping municipal and government websites to try to find that honeypot. But I don't think that's necessarily an issue here, but it is important. I'm happy to meet with Peter. I'll be honest with you, I was pretty surprised at the lack of professionalism in his communication. It could very well be because he's been frustrated with lack of professionalism and communication his way. And, it seemed like a pretty basic email that was sent, just filling him in on things and what we might want with a little bit of a lopsided response.
I think he was frustrated,
Okay.
because he drove all the way up here, and met with me, and we had brainstormed, we were like, a couple of
Got some
hours.
energy going on it,
And his wife was out in the car walking the dog the whole time,
Oh, geez,
which
yeah.
I didn't really realize
Yeah.
until way into the meeting, and so he spent a fair amount of time and energy on his own. He didn't get paid extra to do that,
Wow.
and so I think he
But
was,
you drove up to Solon, right? You met him in
he
Solon?
drove
Yeah.
up to, Solon, and
Okay.
he was frustrated.
Yeah.
I felt the same way, but I think a lot of it is because, I think he felt like that, the fact that our website is so lame that somehow
It was a reflection.
he's the culprit.
Yeah, that's
And I think he's a
understandable.
little defensive about that. He's like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't blame me for this lame website.
Yeah.
One thing that I can say, that would, in my opinion, should consider when we're doing this and considering Peter or any other, entity, is that, if we're trying to do this internally, if we have a person that's doing it internally and that person leaves or doesn't get reelected, then the ball gets dropped.
Is that door locked?
It sticks sometimes,
It might feel
and it
locked.
feels locked, yeah.
Whereas if we have an outside entity, that outside entity would keep chugging along
Yeah,
regardless of, all of a sudden, let's suppose, like, whatever, you don't get reelected, we quit, nobody knows anything about the website.
Right.
Now it's like, now we gotta go find somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that would be just, for me, one, advantage to having, having someone like Peter
Yep.
involved, because it would carry.
we all plugged in and running up there?
Yeah.
Good.
He would supersede any administrative changes within the town.
Yeah.
He would keep on chugging away.
And
That's the advantage I see.
I see the advantage for sure. I have a couple thoughts on a transition here. It certainly should be a top priority. But in my experience, it is, a transition like that is most effective when it's done cleanly and once, right? So we don't wanna make a change to the website and then especially a major one like switching a host or switching any major part of the process and then realize that we jumped into it, weren't ready, have to go back again and it changes on the face. It's kind of best done when you can present it to the public, like this is done and ready. There might be some glitches here, we'll work them out, but this is what you're gonna be looking at for the foreseeable future. Just for the sake of trust that we know what we're doing, So I do think, I was glad to see that Peter said that there are some things that he would be fine with us managing, which I think would be really easy.
The calendar.
Calendar,
posting minutes.
Yeah, things like that. If it's just, dropping a PDF of an agenda onto a place in the website that they always are, and it's the same thing you do every time.
Exactly, I think.
That-
we can
that
handle
shouldn't-
that, yeah.
But it also sounds like, so we don't pay him like any kind of per hour rate when we do that.
No,
It's a
right,
contract
I've
that,
got his bill right
we
here
could
for the year is $599.
and we could send him something every day, and that bill wouldn't change.
That's correct.
That's what he
Okay.
says.
All right, then
By
that's a
the
pretty
way-
great deal.
By the way, yeah, it seems like it is.
Yeah.
Our contract with Catalyst, ends,
What?
I believe he said September of 2025.
Yeah,
So.
so we're
in
not
my
changing hosts
opinion,
until then anyway.
No, I think we should stick with that.
Yeah.
And maybe, we meet one more time and go through these changes that we talked about and, that Peter and I had gone over.
And if-
I wrote an email back in February, sort of outlining, what those changes were, but, and I think I've, I have my notes, but I don't know that, at the time, I was
Yeah.
pretty involved
Yeah.
in trying to, make it.
The good thing is, nowadays, I don't think he would have to make a drive up with screen sharing and video chatting. This is stuff that can be done
Right.
remotely.
No, I
And
agree, and
via
that's what
email.
we talked about
Yeah.
back then, but he wanted to come up, so.
Yeah, sure, if he
I was
wants to,
like,
that's fine,
okay.
yeah.
By the way, he charges $5.99 for last year's activity. I'm not sure if that's, all inclusive if we expanded his role.
Okay,
I think he bills us at the end of the year, so we wanna know if that's,
Well, he did say, I'm not doing this for money, I'm doing it to.
He works for the
Okay.
state, he's like
That's what he
a
said.
PE for DOT.
Yeah.
This is something he does on the side.
yeah.
So,
There's a ton of room for improvement within the framework of our current website. So
Okay.
I don't think we necessarily need to entertain, well, we can't, we're under contract till next fall,
Yeah,
a change in hosts.
no, I agree.
And it may be, I've not seen the inner workings of a Catalyst website yet, but most content management systems are pretty basic. Some just look prettier than others because they're designed for a retail shop more than they are for a municipal firm, so, it should be pretty cut and dry once we can get in there. And I think it's something to your point that a small handful of training hours for everybody, that if somebody was off for a little while, it would be pretty straightforward to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what about emails? Do we want to,
Yeah.
we need to have separate emails.
100%. I think that we should all have separate emails. They should not be attached to a person. They should be attached to a position.
do we
Yeah,
want them
it's retained.
Gmail, or do we want them, he was going to look into whether or not Catalyst, he thought that there might be
Yeah.
free ones, but.
Yeah, and the thing is, like with GoDaddy websites, I've got to see the inner workings of Catalyst. Those host-provided email inboxes tend to be so frustrating and outdated with their usage, and you can't, you have to have another login. You have to go to a certain website. I don't know about you folks, but all my emails are basically Gmail. that you
Okay,
guys use
mine are
Gmail.
too,
So the thing is, there's a lot of layers, you can have it host provided so that the database is internal to kind of the ecosystem of the website, but it can be batched and connected to a professional Google email.
No, it's good, because I then use Google Drives and,
So that was, that, go
Before
ahead.
you continue on Google though, doesn't it have to be attached to the Fairpoint, so it's part of the Forks itself for, accountability, so you don't have like your own personal emails doing other whatever?
Yeah, so the township could own and manage the Google suite.
Okay,
It's like a proficient, it's like
I got the sweet part.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that in the beginning.
Yeah, and so that could be run and owned by an administrator that would be first assessor, would probably be, in my opinion, would be a good responsibility as far as just divvying that out. So that administrator, or even the clerk, I guess, whoever's gonna administrate the inner workings, cause that person sets the permissions to the variety of users, which could be first assessor at, second assessor at, third assessor at. That email address kind of becomes your username for a Google Drive, which is,
Yep.
have you used Google Drive? Everybody's used Google Drive, yeah? Have you used, yeah. It's essentially just a file database, it's a cloud-based file database. What I don't know, my experience here is, I'd like to just maybe make sure that there isn't any issues with MMA or something like that.
was my question.
Yeah, just confirming that that's above board. but the Google
Going
Suite,
with Google, you mean?
yeah, and I have to
I know
imagine it is
that,
because so many, I mean, you're talking,
Solon uses Google,
yeah,
a lot of.
Fortune 500 companies have their entire email network based on the
on
Google Cloud, you
yeah.
know. It will probably, the number of emails that we need on the, at the professional level will probably be to the order of like $15 a month, or maybe $100 a year. I haven't set one up since I set up, we have 3 for our company.
So
I
would
wanna say
we
it's
do them
$8.99
under
a month.
company over, you know, instead of a personal one, it would be under a company?
So yeah,
umbrella?
I think the plantation should
Okay.
own, be the billing entity, and one person should be appointed the administrator of that network. That manages access to the files, to the email accounts, and it's great because you can just click a switch, or flip a switch, and you can say, this person now has access to this, now they don't, you know. It can be very handily managed by an administrator.
Okay,
And it will, and if those professional emails, you know, can be even more professional forward-facing because they can be at our website.com. So it'd be, what is it, forksplantation.com, forksplt.com?
yeah,
So it could be first assessor at forksplt.com.
no, it's the Forks PLT at myfairpoint.
Right, so that could become, you know, that one, if we wanted that to be the handle of the public email where people just send general questions, or where the Bangor Daily News shows up every day, right? That could become, and that's an easy switch over, it just becomes forksplt at forksplt.com, I guess. I think we could probably do better with a name, but, you know, it could be town office at forksplt.com or something.
Do you feel like you want to,
I could certainly help set it up. I don't think that that the third assessor should be the administrator,
right,
but I could certainly help, I could set it up.
We could work together on that one
Yeah,
okay?
pretty easily.
yeah, I'm
And
certainly
I
capable
mean-
of setting up the emails. I think just let's cover the bases, make sure that's kosher with MMA.
Yeah,
If other town offices are doing it, then I'd imagine it would be, because nobody wants to get in that kind of trouble.
yeah, so, I mean, when we get to the clerk's report, I've already sent them minutes so that they have, you know, that they know who the elected officials are, and you guys, there's an email in there that tells you how to set up your, membership, your login for MMA.
Should we wait for that until we have these more permanent emails though? Or should we, I thought I saw that we shouldn't use our personal emails
No,
for
you
that.
shouldn't, because you can't then change it.
Right, so maybe we
So-
should hold off on, is it okay to hold off on that until we have this?
Well, I could call MMA and just make sure that Gmail is an appropriate,
And then move on this.
and then get in touch with you guys so that we can, then you can get into MMA. MMA is, in my opinion, there's a lot of really good information. I know that they're hosting a FOAA,
I saw that, yeah.
webinar soon, so by law, you're all supposed to take it within 120 days of.
We could have this,
being
yeah, we could have this
elected.
done by then, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
We just, I mean, I don't know if now is the venue to do it, but we should work out the nuts and bolts so that when we're setting it up, we have decided what the email addresses are gonna be. Whether it would be the first assessor or the clerk that administrates it. You can have co-administrators, so I would recommend maybe both of you doing that, so you both, you know, if you're busy.
I would do that just because if, you know,
Absolutely.
Okay,
there's, somebody can't make it, or there's an
Yep.
issue, and that person's, you know, indisposed, somebody can, you know, fill the gap.
so action items, I think we have to do a motion, for somebody, and I would be willing to do it, contact MMA first, to make sure that it is, you know, appropriate for a town to use Gmail, as their main email.
I'll make the motion that you contact the town and get the approval that necessary, if we can use Google for town emails.
and it's so much, I don't know if this is a direction we wanna go, and it can be something we do over time, but it is a huge
It is.
asset when it comes to file storage, internal communication. You don't even actually have to use email if you're just chatting. I think there's an internal chat thing that is still recorded and is a record of. The file organization is what saves my life all the time. I mean, it's taken me a while, but all my files are cloud-based now, and very easily searchable and findable, and it's a great place to host training documents, where you can just point someone and say, hey, if you're figuring, if somebody's indisposed and they can't do it, you can just send them, hey, go to this folder, open this file, and here's a step-by-step instruction on what you're trying to do with pictures. And so it doesn't just, the emails are the basic thing, but it comes with a whole lot
Yes.
more resources.
Yeah. So do I have a second on that?
I
motion?
second.
Yeah, sorry, also,
And then,
I didn't mean to keep
and
chatting.
then we're voting, so everyone in favor? Okay.
So if that conversation goes well, the next action item would be to build, to set up an administrative account.
I think it's great.
The question I have is,
I can't go on the
the
internet.
current email, if somebody uses that, I mean, is it gonna get bounced back, or will it be able to still come through?
You should be able to set forwarding for a period of time at least.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, like,
Yeah.
if you, it's like this email address is no
Yeah.
longer valid, but it gets forwarded,
Yeah.
and they get a notification.
And that's also just a matter of publishing and making it known, making a notice on a new updated website that
Absolutely,
this is the new,
yeah.
this is the new way to email the plantation.
Yeah.
If you just have a general question, and I think it'd be great on the website to have short bios of all the assessors and elected officials with a link that says if you wanna email Evan directly, you go to his page, there's his picture, there's a quirky thing about what he likes to do in his off time, and then here's a
I
link that,
think that's great, let's,
and then here's a
So-
link that says, do you have a question for Evan? You just click a blue link, and then all of a sudden you're opening your email.
Is that-
is there a motion that we're going to generate bios?
I don't know.
Let's get the
Yeah,
permission first.
yeah, that's,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
that can just be wrapped into website updates, but what I would, if we wanna move more quickly than not on this, some things that I'll need to know are, what do we wanna call these, what do we want these usernames to be?
Okay,
I think we can do that after we make sure it's okay with MMA.
Okay.
And then we'll
So then we'll reconvene on that.
either reconvene, or we can send out, we can just,
Do it by email.
yeah.
okay, do we need another motion to say that, that after I've talked to MMA, that you start working on the,
I don't
No.
think so.
okay.
I was just thinking that for the sake of timeliness,
Mhm.
if I have to wait for that motion to happen, do we have to have another meeting to say, okay, now I can go ahead and do it, or?
No, let's get it.
No, we've had, during the time that's, there's been stuff going on, I've had to approve, actually, when I was on vacation, expenditures by email, and saying, I'm like, look, I'm telling you, this is a document, I approve, I read it, I looked at the invoice, I approved the amount, and I approved that we should spend it, so it's documented, and it was by email, I didn't come up here and, sign or initial anything, but it's right there, and I said, Sandy, it's solid,
I think by having a discussion and already having that motion on the floor to check, make sure that's given us to
Yeah,
go forward once we get the
yeah,
acknowledgement.
I guess we've already voted on it, but we could amend it and say
Okay, so
if
I've
it's
said,
positive.
motion to allow me to contact MMA to verify a Gmail business suite is appropriate for town emails, am I saying that right?
If it's not too late to set it, and if positive approval to move forward with this, with building it, yes, then it's all
Okay.
rolled into one.
Yeah, upon approval, move forward with building.
Oh, sorry, guys. 7:00, by the way.
Okay. All right, I
So
think
we move
that's-
on to Article 3.
Yeah.
I kind of, because you weren't here, Dave, but I don't want to usurp you, and you're, by statutory authority, you have, have the authority to run the meetings,
I
but.
do, but go ahead, you can finish.
Okay. All right.
I'll ease into this a little bit, this is,
I'm good with that, so, but I don't wanna ever be you gentlemen as trying to take over, because
we
I've
have,
had to almost, you know what I've been dealing with for the last 6 months,
I
and so
understand, more than 6 months.
it's almost like, now I have people that I, need to share everything with, and, it's just a little bit different for me,
Will-
working environment.
It won't take me long to catch up, it's been a long time since I've sat on the board, so, I'll watch and learn, and then we'll have discussions, as long as we get communication as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, that's fine. I just don't want anybody, I don't wanna come off as like, I'm taking charge, this is like, I'm doing this and that. What I'm trying to do is fill in a little bit of a gap until you guys
We
are
are,
up to speed.
we
You
are
know what I
all a
mean?
little
And we're all,
sensitive
you know,
to
we're
that
all-
subject, but I think we'll be fine to
Yeah.
move on.
Can
This
I-
isn't gonna be, this isn't my town.
No,
okay?
no, it's not, this is ours, it's theirs, it's everybody's that here's town, this
You
is,
know, the taxpayers' town.
absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Can I ask one question going back to, Article 2? Do we need to say, make a motion to stick with Catalyst until our contract is expired,
I
or
don't
is
think
that?
so.
I think if we leave it alone, it's already under contract.
Okay,
I don't think
Let's
we've
speak
got
for ourselves.
freedom,
perfect.
freedom to move. And I would hate to jump ship before even knowing, like
Yeah.
you were
Right.
saying, I don't think the
Well-
problem is lied with Peter.
Right,
I'll
and
just
No,
add a note
so I
in
think
here
it
to,
we weren't
basically to.
free with
reflect that.
information to give him to publicize it.
The other thing is, what I've come to realize is that there are a lot of different areas in this, within the plantation that need to be addressed, okay? But it's gonna take time.
It is.
And
Let's
so
not
to
try
me, to jump, right now, to jump to a new web thing, we don't need to do it right now. It's not a priority.
We
It's
have enough
something that, you know, if we
Agreed.
can work with Peter and achieve our goals, for right now, I think that's what we should stick with.
Yeah.
Because it's just, we've got enough on our plate as it is, that we have to do, as opposed to things that we have some you know, it's a choice.
Mhm.
Anyway, to Article 3, general discussion of transition to new Board of Assessors. A, banking signatures. I think Evan and Susan may know more about this than I do. It's got something to do with you.
Okay, so I met with Courtney at the bank, and she just needed more information, which I already got to Susan. And then, which basically states that you're gonna be now on the accounts, probably as read only, but we need somebody else on the accounts
Okay.
besides me. Once she has that, email, which she may already have, right, Susan, did you say you sent that?
Did I forward it?
So you sent that back to her, right, already?
Uh,
Anyway, once she gets it, we just have to set up a meeting and both of us are gonna go down and sign some papers at the bank
Okay.
in Bingham.
Yep.
So I just have to work around your schedule.
Okay. Yep.
We may, you know, that's the way it's been. It's always been the first assessor, but again, there's no roadmap here, so
Understood.
we don't have to, you know, follow.
That's
what has
true, I
been
mean, it
done.
could be somebody
in the
else
past.
that's,
So we may come around to this, we'll get to that, because, the next thing has to do with assignments of assessors. And
Right,
you guys got the key responsibility areas.
right.
Probably room for improvement in there.
Yeah.
But roughly, I think, and again, this is where I don't wanna be a dictator, okay? But I put these KRAs out, and the finance piece is probably the biggest and most cumbersome and difficult piece of the plantation's business, particularly in the current environment.
Right,
I do not want to assume that I am going to be the assessor, quote, who oversees and supports the financial operations. Sandy always did it.
how did that work out?
Yeah, right,
Yeah.
not so well.
We know.
But the fact is I don't have a huge financial background. It's kind of a force fit for me. I've been learning as much as I can.
Yeah.
I don't understand the lingo. I don't understand, you know, like whatever, this double entry accounting system and all that stuff. But I'm learning. But what I'm saying is that I'm willing to continue doing it, and I would think to advocate not for myself, but for a person in my position. I've been dealing with all of this crap for about 4 or 5 months now.
Okay.
And there would be a big learning curve. So the question is does the first assessor really need to be the person for the next year that is sort of the administrative support of the financial operations?
I don't think so as the first assessor, but I would be more than willing to, if you can include me, so I can learn, if you will, and be a part of it. And that, you know, just extra eyes and just learning, but that would be, I would be fine with you having that key role.
Okay.
If I could be kept in the loop, just to wrap my head around it so I better
I
understand
think
it.
that's the goal with everything. what I'm trying to, my vision is that we also have areas of responsibility.
Yeah, I
But
get it.
that doesn't mean that I'm not involved with your area of responsibility.
Right.
You know, there's all kinds of overlap and,
Yeah.
and, you know, in between, but we have to have, like, there's a question about Moxie Dam.
Yeah.
Okay, well, who's gonna answer it, that kind of stuff, you know what I
Right.
mean? So just to go on with the,
Can I just say what the bank is asking for? So Courtney said that the meeting minutes sent along need additional information. Here are the key points. Person being removed with their title. So in the minutes, there's no place where that would be. I mean, cause that's not something that we,
Yeah, we'd probably have to put it in the minutes of this meeting and send them those minutes, like in its own
okay,
section, yeah.
okay.
I've
And
had it
then
in
person
nonprofits
being
before.
added with their title, and then add the new person's phone number with this information. So, there's a, spreadsheet right on the table in front of Charlie that basically is to get contact information and emails, but really, if we're gonna be generating emails, then let's not even,
No, but we still got a little bit of a startup time for that,
Yeah,
and we
we
still
do.
need to communicate until that
Yeah.
time. and,
Let's continue with what,
I think internally we've got our personal emails, but I would wait to, you know, give an email to a bank or to Catalyst or to MMA until we have
Right.
these.
okay,
Township
yeah,
emails.
they aren't asking for emails, they're just asking for phone numbers and,
Okay.
okay, so
I
in the
mean, technically,
minutes then,
we can put everybody's business phone number as the plantation phone line, right? If it's for the bank,
yeah, that's true.
yeah.
I
So the
did.
question I have is
Yeah.
whether, do you wanna go down and do this, sign the paperwork with Evan, or do you want me to go down and do it?
why don't you go down?
Okay.
I would-
Again, I'm just trying to figure out, you know.
I support it, Charlie, you've been.
I do think it's important that somebody else has access to the bank accounts, just in case
Yeah.
I can't get there or
100%.
whatever. Somebody.
Yeah, not just have read only, I can't go
I was
in
just gonna
and transfer
Yeah.
money or do
reiterate
anything
that,
or
so yeah.
change. All I can do is go look at it.
Yeah.
You know, and see if you've
That's
been
true.
adding things properly. Or the bank.
I'm good with that, you have a little bit more flexibility of,
That's what I'm saying, you know, with some of that stuff, so.
Yeah.
Um,
let's work together, make it easier instead of,
So was kind of what I was thinking, at least to start out with. I don't know if we necessarily means that it's set in stone. Is to try to distribute the workload right now amongst the, you know, the people that we have to do the work.
Understood.
Is what it gets down to. The next thing I had on the KRAs was elections. And it seems to me that Susan basically takes care of the elections and whatever. You don't,
I'm looking at a different form.
Yeah,
Oh, it
that's
is
on
different.
well, these are the KRAs, did you not?
Oh, is that what we?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
We have
I can't get
finance, then
on
we have
email.
road maintenance, we don't have,
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry about that, I'm going off something different. Road maintenance, okay. Again, I don't wanna be, a dictator. The things that are, an area that requires a lot of, time and attention above and beyond, the finances, begins at the intersection of the Moxie Road and Route 201. And it runs up north to a dam. And there is a lot of work and chatter and involvement around the road,
Yeah.
the dam, the boat launch, the properties up there, the leases.
I would like to be a part of that.
And I would like you to be, because you know the
Makes
people up
sense.
there, you know.
I will say that, if we get to that part, the Lake Moxie Campus Association meetings and a lot of the campers up there, the camp owners, have all made several comments about not having somebody, in charge or the operator or overseeing the dam that lives or has stake in the game. So that's one of the issues that we'll get to when we start talking.
Well, we're gonna
about
talk
that.
about appointments, so.
So, but to go along with that, you know, I live right there, I drive by it every day, it's, that whole area as far as the leases and stuff go. I have some general concern about, some of that. I just wanna get some more information on
Yeah.
the way we do it and that type of stuff.
But that's kind of was an area that I was hoping that you might be taking interest in.
Absolutely,
and try to,
100%.
um,
The road, we can go either way, that's up to you, I'm not partial to it, I can if,
That might be something all three of us have to kind
yeah,
of deal with.
probably that would be, that's a big
Because it's
chunk.
complicated, and there's a lot of moving parts, and you've got the county involved in,
Yeah,
you know, all this kind of stuff, so.
right,
It's good, although we'll share a lot of things, it's good, I think, to identify a point person, right? So someone there, if it's an easy question, and it comes into a public
That's-
email.
That's all it is,
so-
it's not David's gonna say, no,
No,
we're
no.
canceling all these leases now.
Right.
No, it's a point person for that domain,
Let's make
it
that
doesn't mean that he's a
person-
dictator of that domain.
as a town and as the three of us, everything we do is communicated.
Yeah, that's a
You know,
team, yeah.
it's-
Absolutely.
But you are right, the
Yeah.
point person, and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'd like to thought, what are your thoughts, and then we'll
Right,
discuss it.
absolutely,
And that way we have the discussion, and we come here, we can bring it to
Yeah.
a motion or bring it on.
absolutely, right, but,
That's-
you know, if there's somebody, because I got a concern about the dam, I said, well, you know, Dave Rancourt would be the person that you should talk about.
Yeah, and
Talk to about
and
that.
just, you know, we've got a lot of getting to know each other to do, you know, I'm newer to town, but, if I were to walk into this room, or if I was in this room and someone were to walk in and say, hey, I have a question about the road, and I looked around this table, I would probably look to you,
Yeah.
hoping you've got the answer.
Yeah.
Just because of your longevity, your experience, the line of work you've been in,
Absolutely.
you know.
So would I.
And he drives it every day.
And you drive it every day, yeah.
Yeah.
So can you help clarify something for me, and this is just, I don't know what I don't know, I'm coming up on 3 years in town, so. The way that Moxie Road works, we're only responsible for the portion before it goes into Moxie Gore and after it comes out of Moxie Gore.
Correct.
That's what I thought.
Mhm.
So,
The only thing we do is, we do share the plowing contract, if you will.
yeah, and that's why it's 2.1 miles,
Right,
because it's just those portions, yeah.
correct.
So, but when it comes to like, I don't quite know the coordinates like you might of the issues with the washout and the sinkhole that was there. Is that in the Forks or is that in Moxie
That
Gore?
was in the Forks.
That isn't, okay.
The one right up by, Judy's,
Clyde.
right there.
Yeah, yeah,
No, the one by Clyde's, that was county.
that's county.
That was
Yeah.
county,
That's the
oh,
one I'm
that was
thinking of.
county, no, I
I'm
thought you
talking
meant,
about the crater in the road.
oh, the current one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sandy fixed that.
Okay, all right.
I hit that a few weeks ago, come back.
Yeah,
So did the.
that didn't feel good.
No.
Okay, so I had a hunch that was the case, and I figured, okay.
And I believe the signs are still there, we put them up, somebody put them back up, a couple of years ago, they were missing for quite some time. The actual landmarkers of where the, county and the,
Oh, okay.
Oh, you mean
On
like
the
the Forks
Moxie, yeah.
plantation?
Yeah.
yeah, so those are there if you drive up. you
Yeah,
can see
yeah, I
them.
know where they are, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know, do you guys need to make a motion to have Charlie go to the bank? I'm just trying to make these minutes,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
accurate, so I'm just asking if
I-
that is.
Probably,
Okay.
that's a decision.
Maybe we could work through them and see how things balance out, and then make a motion for all of them all at once, would that work?
Yeah,
Okay,
Mhm.
just to make sure we're not accidentally pigeonholing someone, have to go back and
Yeah,
change it.
we're doing B, assignments of the KRAs, let's go right through it instead of breaking it down, we'll make
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
at the end of the,
Then we
well,
have,
except for that banking signatures is A, and so I've added the officers to
Oh, I
be
see.
removed and the new officers,
good point.
so I just wasn't sure. if
Oh,
a
back at A,
motion
you're
should
right.
be
I'll
made.
make a motion that Charlie will take the helm on that and, go down to get signatures on the accounts as we don't, to back up.
probably shouldn't second, I don't know if I can second.
I'll
it.
second it.
I'm not sure, I don't think I'm benefiting myself somehow by doing that, am I? Is that a conflict of interest? I'm like, no.
That's all right, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
How are you doing, want us to slow up a little bit,
No,
Susan?
no,
Okay.
you,
So, road maintenance, some reason, I don't have dam here, I have it on my oh, okay.
It's coming up, coming up.
Okay, I'm like, so this is, the other area, has to do with, I say town hall, property maintenance, which has to do with all of, basically the mowing and the upkeep of all the town properties, as well as this building itself and all the associated equipment. I've already gone around here, there's some painting that needs to be done, you know, I, have taken on, Chris, is the lawnmower, he, needs quite a bit of support, I think, in sort of, you know, a kind of a presence, you know, with the staying on top of the lawn mowing stuff and kind of just, you gotta stay in touch with them and.
You have a pretty good relationship with
I
them.
do, I do. So maybe too good, which is a little bit of a concern to me sometimes, you
Okay.
know, whether I can be as impartial as I might need to be.
Right.
But I, you know, I do, so, I'm happy to kind of work with him on that
I would,
particular piece
I
right
would
now.
accept that, I mean, you get part of that in your background anyway, so.
Administrative, checking email, mail, agenda, relations with outside entities, and kind of public relations, they all kind of come in together right there. This is a very busy office I've found. Almost daily, there's people calling or emails looking for tax maps, survey maps, what was the other day, they wanted the tax card, right, with the assessor's card.
Election results.
Election
blah, blah,
results is
blah, just
endless.
Endless.
Dealing with FEMA, dealing with ARPA.
And Sandy handled a lot of this stuff, like, you know, she would get the mail, she would distribute the mail, she would, send out checks, she would send out bills. I mean, all those things
She
have to
forwarded
be,
emails.
well, that part doesn't have to be replaced, but all of those,
It's
Other
clerical
duties,
type
like-
duties is what it gets down to.
you know.
Coming in through the email and assigning them
Yeah.
and weeding through the trash, paying the bills, getting the mail, you know, doing all that kind of stuff.
One of
Doing
the-
the payroll,
The
that's kind
assessors
of
are the last
finances.
people to sign the warrant, and so one of the assessors should take the bills and then pay them. She always just did that. But, you know, we'll have to have.
So- Yeah, I feel like much of what Sandy did could justifiably be divvied out, right? So
Yeah.
some of what I've heard you say, I think belongs in whoever is overseeing, the finance and supporting you, sounds like Charlie.
Yeah, if he does
Some
payroll,
of the
then he'll
administrative
probably send
stuff
them checks.
and, you know, organizing emails to the proper end user, the mailbox, you know, that doesn't necessarily have to be the same person. Meeting folks down here, this is something that I think that I can add, that I can be valuable for. There'll be some things that need to be, that I will have a learning curve on, so I need to know where the tax maps are and how to get through them so that I'm not a fumbling buffoon when someone comes in asking for a certain tax map, because but that's just
I
learning.
the wrong lines.
That's just learning a new office, right? I just, you know, which files are in which file cabinet.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We're all new here too. so-
Yeah, I know.
What it's like when you find out, let us know.
Yeah. Maybe we should do it.
Not
That's pretty
been
sad
privy
with
to
the
any of
clerk.
that.
Yeah, maybe, so it will likely come with lots of, you know, side emails to a variety of others at this table saying, can you help me answer this question well?
Well, again, like we discussed, Charlie, this is a point person and the
Right.
rest of us pitch in,
Yep.
you know, as,
Yeah,
cause it's a team effort, this is.
Yeah, and I think as we move forward, I may say like, you know, this is a really constant thing that needs to be attended to and it's bogging me down and, you know, let's look about it and see if we can't manage this particular aspect a different way or a different person.
That's communication.
So I'm gonna say for right now, because I've been doing it, and we're gonna have some problems here too, because Sandy had stuff going on that I don't know about.
That's it, she has stuff going on
It's
that
just
nobody knows.
That I do
No one
not know
knows
about. She
No.
dumped this ARPA file on me yesterday, or a couple days ago, and it has to do with the COVID relief funds.
$3,700 that we were going through.
And I'm
for the
just
generator.
saying, it's been going through her personal email. I think what's happened, and I can understand, she has been hiding it, and the reason she's been hiding it is because she hasn't done it, and the reason she hasn't done it is the same reason that I couldn't do it today. It's extraordinarily complicated.
So then I took over and somehow we've missed the deadline was April 30th, so, I've asked the question, did we lose our opportunity to, you know, get these funds?
We've already got the funds.
Whether or not we have to give them back.
It's whether we have to give them back or not.
Oh.
Yeah.
hopefully there's a grace
Okay.
period
Yeah,
there.
we do have the funds,
Explain
but
that
we
there's
might
been
not
a
give them back.
It's
tumultuous
this is
So
the
I
most-
did, I've written to, you know, it is very, very complicated, you have to go into the Treasury Department website
And Sandy set up as the
she's the
administrator right now.
administrator, and so she, you know, we can't answer certain questions, so I said that person doesn't work here anymore, and so we need to set up
What
a
kind of
new
funds are we talking?
administrator. and anyway,
It's
So
the
that's-
funds that we're gonna go toward the generator, the 3,700
Oh,
to put
right,
it down.
that's
But the fact is we raised enough
To,
to raise it to pay for it
To
anyway, so
supplement.
that was to go towards it, cause it has to, my understanding is it had to go towards something like specific, you
I
can't just say, we're
understand
gonna
that.
just,
No, and
spend it here and there.
We're-
That's why we did
And
it.
that woman, Amanda, she said that that's a very good, a worthy,
Use of the money, it's like
Yes,
they'll buy into
yes,
it.
they said, emergency generator is perfect,
Yeah.
there won't be question.
Mhm.
So,
Here's
yeah,
hoping.
so we're working on that,
Okay,
but,
good.
And-
we sent
yeah.
out a bunch of emails today to try to get to the bottom of it.
It's
but-
gonna take time,
Yeah.
but this is something that has just come up, reared its ugly head recently. And I'm just gonna say, based on what my experience, but this isn't falling into my strength either, dealing with, the Treasury Department and a portal on it.
So,
Anyway,
at the risk of taking up too much time, this sounds like something that, as if I were to help take on this administrative role, that's something that I could probably plug away at a lot of it, and then when it comes time, it's like, okay, now we're in the dollars and cents of this, I'm gonna put it on your desk.
yeah,
And say, this is ready for finalization, can you be the one to authorize it,
right,
however that process works, working together and,
right. And Susan's really taking the point on this.
or
right now,
whoever's doing
because
it,
it
you or
just didn't-
Susan, yeah.
It's just not,
I pointed to you because you kind of took on the finance roles too.
yeah, but dealing with the US Department of Treasury portal is not, it didn't go well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's just, but what is interesting, and I wanna plant a seed for the future. The federal government gave the town money, and now they're making us jump through hoops of an unimaginable proportion, or they're gonna take it back.
that's a typical.
The message, or what pops into my mind, is if you're doing business with the federal government, be very, very careful.
Yeah.
Because, it seems like it's a great deal, all this and that. Now, this FEMA, the 8,000 that we spent repairing the Moxie Road, my intuition tells me, after they spent probably tens of thousands of dollars worth of FEMA employee salaries coming up here on multiple trips and going on field trips, and me sending the same information over and over to different people, that something will come up and we won't get that $8,000. And because it's a gift horse, I think is what they call it. It's like you think it's great, and then you realize that it's like anything else, nobody's giving anything away. And it's whether, and then it gets into, do we have the resources, both, really the human resources and the technological resources to really take advantage of this kind of stuff. We're just a little town of 40 people. We don't have some IT person sitting here 40 hours a
Or
week.
a legal department that
Right.
can decipher through the fine print.
Right,
and
so
that.
I'm just saying that as we move forward, I'm trying to
I venture to guess that these processes become less cumbersome when you do them in the
Yeah.
time frame that they're meant to be done in.
Yeah.
So if you could have chipped away at
Yes.
that process over the course of 3 months, as opposed to finding out 48 hours ago that we're a month, 2 months late,
Right.
there is
the feeling
no-
might be pretty
there is
different.
no question.
So I wouldn't cut the legs out from under us yet on what we're capable of,
Okay,
but,
just saying, it's
Yeah.
like,
And I got some experience reading that type of documentation, so if,
yeah.
So Susan's
Comes
working
through,
on,
yeah.
we're working on it with AMA right
Yeah.
now to try to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think what we have to do first is change administrators in their system.
if she can.
Yeah. And they should have a provision for doing that, because, people get,
Elected.
they do.
unelected all the time, so.
They
I'm sure they're used
definitely
to it,
do, but what I was told today is that there's no way that they're gonna contact you in a day.
Right.
This is the federal government,
Yeah.
and that you
But you've got the,
sit back and wait until they have,
Till your
whatever.
number comes up.
but you've got the documentation that records when an effort was made, so if it takes them a week to 2 weeks to call you back, they'll know that the attempt to reach you
Absolutely.
was
I sent-
3 weeks ago.
Yes, I
An
sent
intent to
out.
file, so
Yeah.
to speak.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we're on Roman numeral number 6 for
Moxie Banner.
assignment.
Well, did we land- what did we-
KO.
We're
Yeah,
not
not the
with
4 and 5.
information. Yeah.
I'm happy
I
to
think-
take on 4, if everyone's okay with that.
I think at the end of all these, KRAs, then somebody's gonna make a motion
Yeah.
to say that Charlie's gonna do blah, 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 Dave's gonna do.
Right. Should we, can I,
So I
can I
guess the
pencil my
question-
name on number 4?
Well, the question I have logistically, Justin, is do you have the time to check the mail every day and come down here, check the email?
Well, I guess that's what I don't know how nuts and bolts we wanna get. Does the mail need to be checked every day? Could it be a Wednesday, Saturday thing? Could it be a?
Personally, you know, Sandy's funny, every day, don't stop anywhere, it was drilled into her by Judy. I don't think it needs to be
I don't
checked
think it needs to be done every day.
I don't think there's anything that emergent going on through.
We only
Sandy.
pay bills once
Wait
a
a
month.
second, unless it is election time.
Right, there'll be
That's
certain
different.
times when
And
you need to.
then, you know,
yeah.
I could fill in during that time because
Yeah.
there's stuff that they send and they want immediate
Yeah,
action. It's bizarre how
But would they direct that to you?
they send
Would
it
they
to me.
direct that to
They-
your email?
No,
No,
it comes in
it's
snail mail.
Snail mail,
we're
and
talking
then
about checking
Sandy
PO
brings
box,
it
yeah.
here and
Oh,
puts
you're
it.
talking about regular mail.
So-
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
checking the
I'm
mail,
on the
and
email
and
section.
emails too.
so when part
Yes,
of
they
what we've
do
talked
direct
about
it.
in this transition is that we have the opportunity here to kind of design a playbook here that hasn't really been designed. It just kind of formed itself because of the personalities involved and what they wanted to do, and we
And
have an
we can tweak
opportunity to.
these as we go.
Yeah, we can write a playbook, and then we can edit the playbook, and then by the time we're all done with our tenure here, and we're passing that playbook off, it's a good, clean framework to
Yes.
start from. And to be honest, the next folks should be able to adjust and edit that if times change and requirements change and needs change, but, so I don't, you know, I don't necessarily, it will just be a learning curve, figuring out what the right rhythm is. If it's
Right.
twice a week, if it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm at the mailbox and bringing stuff down here. If we upgrade our email and network systems, that's something I can do
I
quickly.
think you're the best
from-
candidate for us, especially geographically speaking.
Yeah, I'm close, and
Yeah.
if that's the only thing that requires a physical place to be on the globe, then it's no big deal. You know, the email I can do from my computer,
Right, I just meant for the mail.
mail.
yeah.
I personally, I think 2 or 3 times a week is adequate. for me.
You know, we gotta talk about how we're gonna handle tax bills too, cause those used to go to Judy's house.
Yes.
We,
And I bet you they still
Is that
will
on
go
here?
to
Because
Judy's house
I was
even
hoping
if
that was gonna be
they are,
Well,
tax report, that's where I was gonna bring that up.
okay, we
Yeah.
can wait.
Yeah,
Right.
because that is a
Okay.
very big, huge topic in my.
But we need that,
Yes.
we need to direct everybody's way of thinking into your tax bills go to the town, not to her house.
well,
Or anybody's house,
Or anybody's house.
ever. I would never say.
But, you know, but this is why we can't do it, because now we have to switch it.
Yeah,
Correct.
I have an application for a new PO box, and I wanna have a PO box that's dedicated to the tax collector. The only person who has the key to that mailbox is either the tax collector, or if the tax collector has a deputy, the deputy tax collector, period.
Yes.
You don't have it, I don't have it, none of us
I
have it,
think
that's who
that's
has it, It's
awesome.
dedicated PO box, whatever it is.
I like that.
Very
And I
good.
talked to
Gonna
Julie
change.
about it, she can do it forwarding, so anything that comes to Judy will get bounced to that PO box.
That's really good.
Absolutely.
okay,
So and I've got the stuff in there, we just have to, I
Good
have to
job.
fill out the
that's a
paperwork.
good idea.
Good job, excellent.
So
So let's
with
get
that-
back to this, and
yeah.
when we
Yeah.
get the
Yeah,
tax
let's
collector,
do
we'll
it.
So, okay,
we'll
so
beat that one up.
Justin with administrative type stuff,
Yeah,
and I'll work with you during the transition process.
You better.
I'll just
Yeah.
show them what it is
It's
that
in
I'm
everybody's best
trying
interest
to
if you
do
do.
every day.
Yeah.
and keep me in the loop as well.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
Like I said, just, even if it's an email, this is what we did, or this is what we're going to do,
Yeah.
not every detail, I'm just saying, if I have a general idea, you know, and it don't have to be, I'll send okay every single time, just send, so
Yeah.
can read it and understand that, you know,
Yeah.
stay up to speed on, and I'll do the same for you, you guys as well, that way we're all on the same page, and we can move that way.
Right.
I think, given the context, this is an aside across all this, given the context we've all come into, the reply all button should be used
For every
frequently.
time.
For now, just so, cause even if it's got nothing to do with me
Yeah.
functionally, it will help me learn
What's
what are the
going on.
communications that have to happen, because
I
I got to
Right.
see,
What's
and it's,
going
you know,
on?
everybody's inbox is overflowing, but I think it's important, I would like to just kind of imbibe that knowledge just by observation. This is the kind of conversation that has to happen around this particular thing that's occurring,
Agreed.
so that if I'm in the role to have to contribute to that, I'm not completely in the black.
Well, I think for right now too, when we get done here, we do have a few housekeeping things to do. We can, show you how to log on to the town email that we have right now.
Sure.
But I think that there should only be one person that is deleting and distributing. In other words, you can get on it
Yeah,
and look at it, but you know what I'm saying as far, because if we have a bunch of people in there,
We all know the,
you know what I
so
mean?
the beauty thing about, the Google Workspace is things don't get deleted, they get archived. And they're recallable.
Okay.
But anyway, that's kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of that side of things, who's gonna have what administrative roles
Right.
inside of
I
that
agree with
cloud network.
you having,
Yeah,
whether it's the first assessor or whoever.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're right.
okay.
Oh, we
So we can move on, sorry, because that was just a
Yep, no
different
worries.
side, that as far as communication, like I think it's great that we all get to have eyes on a lot of things.
Yeah, well, that's how you're gonna learn, you know,
Yeah.
all the little nuances.
And eventually it'll
everything
get to
that's
the point
going on.
where someone can self-select out, I'm good, I don't need to be copied on these emails anymore.
Right,
This
right.
is-
No, I think that's true, just for educational purposes, learning
Yeah.
curve, you know, knowledge base, that's
Yeah.
all, so. This is
Especially
what
in the
we,
beginning,
this
yeah.
is what we
We'll
deal
find a
with.
rhythm, like I said, we'll
Yeah.
find a rhythm.
Public relations.
I think that's kinda all of us, really, I mean, I kinda
Agreed.
had that because of, you know, we have always communications with the guy at the county, Dave Spencer at the road, you know, there's the FEMA people, there's, you know, the state government, there's just other, you know,
Yep.
other government entities that we need to work with. And I think this would be, in my opinion, Justin, try to handle this pretty much similar to the administrative, where maybe you would be interested in doing the, kind of the, I mean, we
Yeah,
all
yeah.
kinda do it, but,
Under the same vein, if there's a question that's gotta do with road maintenance of the dam that's kinda above my head, I'll
it's
just,
gonna go perfect.
I'm a good convener, so if I don't know the answer, I don't BS an answer, so I'll make sure that I
Right,
get someone in
get to the
touch with
person
who
who
needs
does,
it, yeah.
right.
But I do have experience, I've been in a couple nonprofits, one my own and one another, that had to communicate on a national level with other government agencies and stuff, so I kinda cut my teeth on how to communicate with those folks and get things,
Somehow intuitively I knew that.
get things done,
Way speaks.
find a way to get them to like, I don't know, see your email is more important than the other 30 they have, I guess,
That's, it's a gift, and it's an important component of what
Well,
we need to do, so.
Sometimes it's a curse, because you end up being the one having to talk.
Again, you're right, so that'll be something that you and I will work on together and sort of
Sure.
work on passing the baton and sorting
Okay.
through how we do that. 6.
Yeah.
Moxie Dam.
Yeah.
David, I don't wanna pigeonhole you, but I've always had this vision that, that end of town is gonna be called Rancourtsville.
I do have some experience, and
It would make sense if you just did that.
Yes,
Alright.
right.
it does make sense, I know. I
Yeah.
deny
And
it.
again, it's not like you're on your own, if there's important decisions,
Oh,
no,
I mean, we all make it together.
It'll all make,
but
sense. It's not-
Your point, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you get paid to do the leases every year, so.
What's that now?
You get paid to do the leases every year.
We just found that out.
What do you mean by
Judy
that?
managed the
She
leases
gets-
every year, she
Yeah.
got a $600 a year stipend.
Oh, no
We
way.
don't know who ever approved that or how it was actually paid, but.
You probably won't find out either.
Anyway, I don't think it was through payroll.
Yeah, that's.
Maybe it was, I don't know, I shouldn't say that, but. Anyway, can I just go on a little bit about the leases?
Sure.
We've got all the leases out,
Mm-hmm.
we've only got one back, which is the new guy.
Yeah,
I might as well drop the bomb right now for people to think about. I think that particularly the lease, lots that we have up there that are not developed
yeah.
ought to be sold, and we ought to use the money to capitalize repairs of the dam, that's my opinion. Because I don't know
100%.
why we're in the lease business.
I'm 100% with you. 100% behind you on that one. And that's been one of my concerns for several years now. Why are we leasing, why is the town in the market for $1,000 lease? I mean,
That's right.
back in the days when we leased property, cause it was me, Vesco, Scott Paper, whatever. It was $1,000 in like 1990, and it went up and went up. I mean, this is,
Can I get a little bit of clarity on this?
yeah,
Where are these leases located? Are they
just
all
north of the dam.
only adjacent to the dam?
Yes, so there's, what is it, 5 or 6 lots?
I think there's 6 right now,
Six.
but then you have 1A,
leases.
which is Ida's old place,
Right,
and then there's 2 others there that have buildings on, maybe one other building.
one is
and
the
then there's-
Collins place.
And then there's a Collins place, and then, but there's one separate from Ida's old. On
Right.
Ida's, there's 3 buildings,
Right.
and then I think there's another lease with a building on it, with a camp on it.
Okay, that one that sets up, yes, it's a
Yes.
small place, yep.
Right.
And then the rest we did, I don't know why there's a stipulation of campers only, so forth, but
That's the
let's,
LUPC, I
We've
think.
got annual leases on there, so you have a year to figure out a plan.
well, I was just gonna say that,
Yeah.
let's table that, but I'm with that discussion, and at least, if anything, get an evaluation of something and maybe check into it, but yeah, I'm more than willing to,
Yeah, and
I'll
long
take
term, again, no decisions tonight, we're gonna have to make some decisions about Ida's property.
Ida's property and the dam, yep,
I've
absolutely.
been intrigued with those properties and their potential value to the town in other capacity than
Did we
leasing.
ever get a, excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I've always wondered if there was if, first of all, I didn't know quite how the transactions worked and the leases and such like that, but that property seems underutilized, even just for a park or something that supports the recreational activity in town, hiking, biking, ATVing, snowmobiling, swimming, boating. It seems like a really valuable little thing, and I wonder if there's a method to retain ownership of that, but get it out of this lease,
We could discuss
Yeah,
that,
whether it's selling it and then having it gifted back to the town, or I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know how the best way, but it is something that's gonna have to be dealt with.
It will,
You know, Sandy tells me a million times that it's full of black mold, that Ida's house, it needs to be torn
this was
down.
the question I was gonna.
And I'm like, you know what? I've been working with Sandy and Judy enough, anything they tell me, we need to fact check that.
Mhm.
And so I had, first it was Glenn, and he's really busy, but Kenny Perkins, I've got the key, Kenny and Perkins, I'm gonna go up, I'm like, that's what he does, I'm like, Kenny,
Yeah.
this place salvageable, should be torn down, what do you think? Then if it's salvageable, how much is it gonna cost, and what are we gonna do with it if we do
Yeah,
restore it?
something else you gotta look into too,
You know.
is, the historical society.
Right, right, and I think when it comes down to that property, we may be well advised, when it gets to it, to have a public hearing and get some input. from people.
100%.
Absolutely.
You know, I really think we should have a
100%
public
Just keep
hearing,
going.
because it helps us make a better decision if we know how people are feeling.
I would like to be involved with that,
And I'm talking long.
no, I mean,
just
the
Right,
inspection.
have a year.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Okay,
inspection, yeah.
just to give you guys, you know,
If-
sort of, you
If
know.
I could be
control.
rolled in just out of sheer curiosity, because I'd like to see the inside of that place.
It would be nice to take action though a year from now, like, so if we
What's that?
really, it would be nice to take action one way or the other, like, if we're going to keep them, we should take action to improve them, and if we're
I
gonna
can come
sell
up with
them,
an
we should be
action plan.
ready to sell them when the leases are
I
up.
would like, I can come up
And we
with
should
that.
tell the people well in advance, hey, we're gonna sell them at the end of your lease,
That's right.
like 4 months in advance,
Mhm.
and then everybody's on board, so we should do something
So
one
we
year
should,
from.
we should keep this kind of on the front burner, having
We
a public
should.
hearing,
Mhm.
having some
Yeah, this is-
discussions
I'm
about
just, you
different
know,
ideas
I can
for
do
it.
that, and I can, because when I was, from experience, I got a letter in the mail, you got 90 days to close,
Mhm.
or else,
From the paper company.
from the paper
Yes.
company.
Yeah.
90 days to
Or
close, or
move
else,
your camp.
or move your camp, or sell it, or whatever, it goes to the highest bidder, yeah, so I've been there, and it's not a great feeling, but if you have time to figure it out, then it does make a
Yeah.
difference.
I'm just trying to plant seeds, long
No,
range stuff.
absolutely, that's a
you know,
great,
that's all.
that's a great Jedi mind trick, yeah.
Is now when we need a motion to,
We
look
need a
back at what
motion,
we
yes.
penciled in here and
Yeah.
approve it?
Okay.
I have, in order, 1 through 6, Charlie, Dave, Charlie, Justin, Dave. Is that what everybody else?
Okay, the only difference I had was on public relations, I wrote all assessors as related to their KRAs.
Huh? That's
Oh,
all.
sure, yeah, I think that's probably how, that's how we'll end up. I was saying, if there's a damn question, I'm not gonna try to answer it, I'm just gonna pass it.
What
over
did
to
we
Dave.
do on road
I think you
maintenance,
just
what
pointed
we
to me as
decided
a
with that,
point person.
Dave?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
because it's all-
Justin is
Okay.
point, and then, okay,
Again, this is just like, Dave has a question, Dave Spencer from the county wants to talk to him about the road, okay? Dave is the guy that, you know, you need to talk to, not me. He's, you know,
Yeah.
you know, so
But I'm gonna-
oversee
And I
the
think it
road,
will-
you can come up
it
and
will
say,
help.
boys, this is what the Spencer had to say, this
Yeah.
is a decision that needs to be made, that kind of
And I think it will
stuff.
help it'll help improve our trustworthiness and our public perception to those outside stakeholders. If there's one person that says, thanks for reaching out, I'm gonna get you in touch with the person that's got your answer.
Mhm.
Here's Dave Rancourt, first assessor, town, you know,
That's
Right.
right.
and it's just, even if it's not the answer they're looking for, an expedient response that says we're getting to them is,
And then a
Goes a long way.
discussion can be had if Dave Rancourt doesn't know the answer.
yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly. And I would probably check in with you and be like, you're the right person I should send this to, right?
Right, exactly.
I think it's really important to direct these people to come to the assessors meetings too.
Yeah.
You know, invite them, I mean, I don't think that's done enough.
Yeah.
Because,
I think
and they
if
can
you-
look and see when meetings are, if they're on, so you know what I
Right, we
mean,
need
this
to
is
have the
all
information
moving
available.
in the right direction, but, invite them to come and instead of just searching out poor David and slamming him with whatever their complaint is.
I
And
think
even
that,
if they do that to you, David, you can just say, you know, we really welcome you to
Oh,
come to the
absolutely.
assessors meeting
That's absolutely.
and you know, voice your opinion,
I
there
would-
hasn't been enough of that.
I'm gonna tell you guys, absolutely, because what's gonna happen has already happened to me. And it's not a good feeling, I go into Barry's store at friggin' 7:30 in the morning, I got people bushwhacking me. What about blah, blah, blah?
Right.
When are you gonna take care of this? And
The
I'm like,
dog, everything. I
and I'm
mean,
like, you spent
seriously.
too much, and like, and so, at the first time, I mean, like, I'm like, it's just, really? I kinda stopped to get a cup of coffee, I'm headed to the
Right.
dump, you know? And I thought about it, and I said, I'm just gonna have to say, we wanna hear from you.
Come to the.
We have
assessors.
assessors meeting once a month, you can send us an email, or you can send us a letter. We wanna hear from you, but Barry's store at 7:30 in the morning, when everybody's around, is not the time
I've been
to
attacked
start
by saying.
telling me that we
Yeah.
paid too much money for the dog. Okay, it's not the right forum,
I-
but you guys are gonna get hit with this shit too.
That's fine, I
you
know
know?
how to feel that, that's easy, that's,
Do
but
I have
that's-
a second on that motion?
Oh.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Good for you, Susan.
Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, thank you.
Rein us in.
All right,
Appoint new positions, is that where we are?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I think we can do this and, I think it's all said, I just say I make a motion that we appoint Susan Hathaway as a voter registrar.
I'd like to add one comment.
Yes, sir.
Susan, you really shouldn't have decreased the money.
Listen, I know.
I
how
You
understand.
much-
did decrease
just
the
saying.
money.
No, but ethically, I should have.
Okay,
So
as long as
that's-
you're okay with it, and I know it's yours, but I'm all for that, I support that 100%, I mean, the last
Kinda
one
does it
didn't even show
anyway.
up. to the-
You know,
She's already
the
doing
clerk
it.
does 90% of it anyway.
I agree, I
And so
agree,
it doesn't make any sense
Yeah.
that then you farm this little piece out.
No.
We all know why it was done,
we all do,
but
but,
you know,
Anyways.
that was that.
This was previously Lindsay Weiser?
Mhm.
I'll second that one. We wanna do this in order then?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So, all in favor, I think, Susan?
Okay.
I make the dam operator
let's discuss it first, yeah.
has been, Chris Duke, who was the third assessor.
Yeah.
He's been, I think, trying to do, carry, the torch, given the fact that he's no longer the assessor, he's not in town a lot, I don't think he has a lot of reason to go up to Moxie in particular.
Agreed.
And so Leon Duval was the assistant dam operator, and he was appointed, I don't know how many, after I think Jimmy passed away, I think is when we.
A couple months ago.
We
Yeah.
talked about that, so.
Couple meetings ago, yeah.
Yeah, so any other discussion about dam operator?
I would like to do the dam operator, because I live on the dam. I've been approached, by the people, I drive by it twice a day.
Mhm.
I'm all for Leon being the assistant. But Chris has, in my opinion, he didn't answer the phone quite a few times. To be honest with you, I helped Jimmy Levitt a couple of times last year when he was unavailable, the phone call, so, and that makes you got Sylvester Corner right there, and they all pay attention to who's there and who's not, and that's one, trying to keep the public happy and keeping the campers and the water up it's a big task, and really, anybody that does it, you're not gonna make everybody happy, and
Oh, you
You
know,
ready
I'm
for
gonna be
that?
yelled at by Debbie Rowe, I'm gonna be yelled at by Tom
So Charlie, you're
Sylvester.
gonna make a motion to that effect?
We will, yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to, be considered for that, for the dam operator, and keep Leon as the assistant.
Okay.
I make a motion, we appoint Dave Rancourt, as the, primary dam operator.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Sense to me.
You wanna make a motion for Leon?
I'll make a motion to keep Leon.
Oh, okay, I thought it was
I'll
all
make a
one.
motion to keep Leon as the assistant dam operator.
I second.
I do know that, at some point, I know Tom has expressed that next year he'd like to get back into town politics, so.
Sylvester?
That's,
In what capacity?
I don't know, he just said if I had backup, I might come back,
Okay.
but he,
you know, I'm going to encourage anybody that wants to get
absolutely,
involved
whatever.
to throw their hat in the ring.
And
I agree.
he started that with the dam, because I mentioned the dam operator, he said, not yet, he said, but maybe next year, he said, if I get back up, I might consider getting back in.
Well, it's a whole different,
So, and the whole point of this whole thing, and I hate to keep going sidebar, is we just want a clean slate, move forward, make things positive, not be,
Mhm.
we want to lose the black eye.
Yeah.
We want to be a friendly little town.
Yes.
That's how
Will
I do
we
it.
are. I mean,
So, yeah, okay.
so, is that good, Susan? Are you set with that?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. D, retrieval of town property.
Oh, one question, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
I noticed in the book that it's James Levitt and Leon Duvall, so is it just Leon Duvall now?
Yeah, Jimmy passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know him, so
Yeah,
that's
no,
who you were
that's fine.
talking about, okay.
Yeah, so Dave is a dam operator and Leon's the assistant. I wanted to let you guys know too that I've gotta track this down with Chris and Leon. You do get $17.60 an hour for extra, like maintenance or something, I don't know. So you keep track of your hours. It's
Oh, I see, yeah.
above and beyond standard stuff. You know, that's the way it's been. I don't know, like if you had to go up and like, I've gotta, replace this or
Yep.
screw that or well, whatever it is, extra maintenance above and beyond just opening the gates.
Yep.
So,
I have a question. If, we are appointing these people, do they need to be sworn in? Cause I did swear Leon Duvall in.
I think you do, but I don't know how you swear yourself in. Is it,
She could swear.
No,
him in for-
I go to a, whatever, a notary or
for voter
I
registrar?
could go to the bank or whatever, yeah.
I think we do, because my understanding is that appointed employees generally have to do an oath of office every year. They sort of renew their oath of
Okay,
office, if
so-
it goes from year to year to year.
So Dave, that, you'll have to be sworn into that.
Okay.
Do you have a generic form for
I
that?
do, yes.
You guys both got sworn in for these positions,
We
right?
did.
Alright. Anything else on dam stuff? Retrieval of town property.
Are we talking about Judy's?
I think primarily, I mean, I have no way, of verifying what, if any, either one of these, former, town officials may or may not have in their homes.
Judy made a statement to me when she was training me the other day that she has 0 town property in her house.
But wasn't there
I
something?
can tell you.
That's all she
I
said.
can tell you
Wasn't
from
there,
personal
like, somebody
experience by
said she had a
registering
safe?
my stuff in her home, that she has a whole office in there, whether,
And she has a safe that
Which
is
is-
bolted to the floor, from what I understand, that is
That's
the
just the
town.
statement she made to me.
well, so, in my opinion, if we're gonna pursue this to that capacity, then that would have to require probably, legal action. That would require, the
I'm
sheriff.
not really sure what she'd be holding anyway.
Well,
that we would need
so
that.
what information
Yeah,
would
what is
a
it?
tax, so as a tax, and I don't know this, but,
I mean, the tax cards are all there, we have all that stuff.
okay, so I don't, does she have, I mean, I don't care about a copy machine or whatever fax.
Yeah, I
machine.
mean, that kind of stuff, I'm not,
No, those are
Safe.
bond paid for.
who knows who paid for that, I don't wanna find out.
No,
That's a long time ago.
my only concern was is the personal information.
Yeah, she says that it's all back in the office, I mean, I don't know how we're going to confirm that, but I don't, I feel like she was telling me the truth, I don't know, I can't tell, I know who we're talking about,
Certainly,
so I don't know what we do, but I don't know how we go forward.
Well, what about I mean, if she has no town property, then I would think she would be more than willing to just sign an affidavit saying that she does not possess any town property.
That's a good idea.
And that takes care of it. If she does, then
Great idea.
you have,
It is a great idea.
yeah.
We should
that-
do
that's
it
what-
for Sandy too.
And I
I
would do
think
that.
we should for both.
Yeah.
I think that's an
And I-
excellent
I
idea, and
think
then
you-
if there's any repercussions, the town's covered, we
Right.
do our
Yes.
due
And I
diligence.
think you
Great idea,
can,
Sharon.
I think you can
Yep.
adopt that as
I
a,
agree.
Yeah,
going forward. I mean, if you're not the first
For
assessor
any
next
of
year.
us moving
You
forward.
just sign
standing.
an
Here's my
affidavit.
keys,
I
here's
do
my
not
whatever,
have
just have
any-
a sign.
right.
Here's my affidavit, I don't have any town,
Exactly.
pick
Mhm.
documents or equipment.
I like it.
Yep.
So
And
maybe we frame
And,
this as,
and it can be a notarized statement, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Sure.
so I'd make a motion to adopt a policy that all outgoing officials, you know, forgo their
Past
town,
and
their
present.
town property
Yeah.
and sign an affidavit
Mhm.
I second.
expressing that they hold no more town property or information.
Is that something, a document Susan can come up with?
Maybe MMA has something.
MMA might have some, I can follow up on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll follow up with them.
I
Charlie
think
got
that,
that.
I mean, that's just what you would do if you fired an employee and, you know, they were in a very important position and
There's
you
gotta
wanted
be
to
a
make sure that.
standard, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like policy or a process. about
And if you
that.
adopt it as a new policy going forward, you're not pinpointing.
Great
certain-
idea.
You know, it's gonna be for us too.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean,
Right.
you know, they can't say, oh, they're picking on me, you know.
okay, motion to adopt a policy to sign an affidavit expressing that town property has been returned.
There's no town property in their possession.
Okay, that there is no, okay.
I would say documents or property.
Mhm.
Yes, document.
Yes.
Is
Yeah, anything
no
physical. And it should be, you know, maybe put some language in there about outgoing officials or appointees.
Mhm.
property.
I'll follow up with MMA legal, and see what they can offer.
Okay.
Explain what the
And
problem
if we
is. I'm
have-
sure it's not a new problem, that's.
No,
the
I
reason
mean,
they
it could
have
be
to
as
work.
simple as keys, you know, if you have, you know, a
Going
door.
forward.
It could be as simple as a key.
Yeah, you just sign it, I returned
Yeah.
everything. that's all.
Right.
Yes.
We may
yeah.
have to send that as a certified mail to Judith and
Mhm.
Sandy or
Yeah.
whatever.
And again, it's
But
just a
going
new
forward, you could
policy
do that
going
at the
forward.
end of the term, have that
Mhm.
ready at the election.
Yeah. Yeah,
That way,
yeah.
Or even if they
Have one ready
resign
for
in the,
next year.
in the interim, you know, an
Exactly.
outgoing official.
You might, yeah, you might wanna put in the language, talk to MMA about it, but, you know, they're technically not, they're already outgone, so to speak, so maybe it needs to be like within 2 weeks of transition or something like that.
So,
So that they don't come back and say, well, we missed your chance to do that.
so with that said, do we want to,
I think if you just leave it open,
Yeah,
any outgoing, you know, or any, you know,
I was just trying to get ahead of rebuttals,
well,
but
I know.
I guess it might,
But sometimes
because it
if you
wasn't a
make it too
policy.
specific, you create more hurdles for
yeah,
yourself.
you're right.
okay, so motion to adopt a policy to sign an affidavit expressing that there are no documents or property in their possession upon officials leaving office.
It's a time of resignation or at the end of your term, or
Right,
whatever, whatever you wanna,
Yeah.
however you.
Again, that'll be in the affidavit, I
yeah,
think.
so Charlie's gonna follow up with that on the MMA for that policy.
Yeah,
I just think that's really
yeah, I'm
important.
just writing the
No, no,
minutes,
yeah.
so I can, I mean,
So-
I can be
Yeah,
a little bit more loosey-goosey
100%.
with my language.
right, I think
So back
that's,
to D though, retrieval of the town property, do we wanna have a, excuse me, some sort of affidavit and certified mail to Sandy and Judy, today, you know, as soon as possible?
mhm.
I think as soon as we can get the right
Language in the letter.
language in the letter from
I just don't
MMA
want it to
legal.
wait a few months or whatever, so.
Right.
No, it should be soon,
No,
but I think,
I'll
No,
get
I would
on
do
that.
it right away.
yeah.
Okay.
And on that,
Well,
so,
and you discussed it at this meeting, so you're going forward with that.
Right?
yeah,
Okay, so with that said, then let's make sure that we get it, certified mail and get it,
Yeah.
make the motion that, that gets taken care of.
so I put a
And-
motion on the
and Chris,
table to
you-
do this,
We,
and we
we,
need a
we wanna
second.
remember Chris
second.
too,
Yes.
because you don't wanna pick any,
I understand, yeah, it's
Yeah.
Chris as well, yep,
yeah.
that way they all got them, yep.
Yeah,
I think that's a very
great idea, yeah.
necessary
Yeah, thank you for that, it's a good idea.
thing going forward, is it,
All in favor of the motion?
Back on the nuts and bolts of retrieval, I was witness to Sandy handing a key in to the A door. But then I got remembering about the other doors in the building, like the gym door
Mm-hmm.
and things like that, so. Do
We have a lot of things to think about in that regard.
Yeah,
Right,
There's multiple ways to enter this building.
yeah.
right.
You can see all entrances from that camera upstairs, and I went up and looked at it, and it shows real time. The
Okay.
security cameras, they don't go to a phone or anything, but they must have a storage device. I don't know how to work the darn thing. But I can tell you that I'm just saying to like retrieve when you can time and all that. It's got like a little remote that is almost like a TV remote or something. I just looked at it,
If you
and I
weren't,
could see my truck over here, I could, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I could see the stuff, so I think there's 3 cameras, I believe.
if you weren't familiar, all of us familiar ourselves with like, you know, how long that log's for. You know,
Yeah.
it's got, if it's an internal storage system, eventually it has to start dumping off the back end when it
Right.
fills up. So is that a year's worth, is it a day's or a month's worth? Is it-
Right.
I think there should be some paperwork in the file about,
I'll try to find out how that thing works and what.
yeah, even if there's a file, yeah, it should have it in the instructions, it
Yeah.
might not be set, so.
I don't know, other than having an affidavit, having them sign an affidavit, that there's any real way that we can be absolutely certain that they don't.
No,
You
but that
can't-
covers you, that
But
covers you.
it covers,
you know.
exactly.
I
So
mean,
a
you
question
think,
on the certified mail part, is that, so then they have to, they just sign it and mail it back in? Or do
Well,
they have to be in the presence?
They have
of-
to sign for the letter.
Yeah.
it should be a notarized
Yes, it'll be
signature.
notarized, and that way, so you have to pay the extra postage, you have to pay the notary to get that form. But that way, they sign for the letter, that they've received it. Then they have X amount of time to send it back in
Yeah.
legally. So that-
Notarized.
Notarized.
So it will be on their responsibility to go to a
It will.
notary,
Mhm.
and the closest notary,
Well, there's a couple of times.
I'm the
Yeah.
Oh,
notary,
you can go to the bank.
You are?
You know, any
I'm a
bank
notary.
has
I
a
think Laura's
notary.
one is
Yeah.
notary.
Yeah,
I'm a notary, I don't know if it's.
Almost every rafting
See-
company has a notary,
Yeah,
except to
exactly,
notarize
yeah.
everything.
so, and that's all that is, and that way, it's officially documented that that she received it, or whoever received it.
Yeah, in other words, you don't have, I never got that.
Well, that's what I mean, you send a regular mail, I didn't get that, or they tear it up, throw it in circuit file.
I can assure
That
you,
way-
they probably will not respond to that. They probably will not return it to you.
Well,
So
that's
you're
why-
gonna have to think about what you're gonna do.
Well, that's why it needs to go certified, and it has to
Right.
be in there,
Yeah.
you know, you have X
Right.
amount of days to get,
We might be able to get them to sign it.
I think we will.
If it's
There
to,
may
if-
be coffee stains on it and
That's
everything
okay.
else.
I think we can.
okay, well, if you think you can, we can make that attempt, and if not, then we'll do the certified, how's that?
Yeah.
Perfect,
I would.
At least Judy, I think, would sign it. That's who
exactly,
you want
that's
to
what I
sign
was
it.
I think they would sign it if they saw how many.
People always
That
feel
it's gonna
much
be
more
an
accountable
ongoing
when they
thing.
have to
Yeah.
write their name
I
down.
agree.
right,
Everything
to
that-
adopt a
Yeah.
policy.
Adds to accountability. It's easy to tell Evan you don't have anything, but then you gotta.
But
write
that
your
also,
name
that also clarifies when, because we're gonna get a lot of town taxpayers are gonna ask the question, well, what about all my records? Cause we've been sending all our checks to Judy's home
Mhm.
for every year, forever.
But those checks are deposited in our bank and they come back to the
Well,
office.
right, but they'll, you know, this is how people are gonna ask,
So now we
and
have-
then we
have
can
an
say,
answer.
we have an answer.
That's true,
Right.
Dave. That's very good, yeah.
That we at least attempted.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay,
Tax collectors report.
All right, well, this is my first tax collector's report, and it's very abbreviated. I did meet with Judy, one time to go over some basic information as she's passing the torch, but I wouldn't call that training. And I am gonna require quite a bit of training on that side of the
yes.
business, so I'm hoping we can engage Trio soon, to have somebody come on site and train me on just the real estate function, even though we don't have tax bills going out soon.
Right.
After we get through year end in a couple of days, would be a great time to
That's
start on it,
Yeah.
right after that.
Yeah, Denise mentioned there's a class that you should take that would help you tremendously.
Is that MMA one?
I think so, yes.
And so, but the other thing I wanna talk to the board about, as far as the tax collector and really, again, at the treasurer's position is, the idea of having a deputy tax collector to help me kind of get this, up and running, and, you know, the salaries that we have here don't really allow for you to appoint someone and take a salary out of your salary and pay them with it, you know, 'cause the tax collector's, I think, $6,200. So, you know, I'm asking the board if there is another way.
You'd have to have a special town meeting to raise money.
Well, you guys would probably have to vote on it to even get it that far, the
Correct.
three of you.
Yep.
And so, but what I would like to, what I envision is having somebody have the ability to get paid to help me out.
Right.
Yeah.
What if I'm just throwing this out, but we do have $3,000 that goes to a B&B person. So could the deputy take on the B&B and at least get the $3,000? I mean, I don't know, maybe that's a nightmare and it's not worth $3,000.
As far as the BMV, which we're skipping ahead a little bit, but it was brought up, part of what's going on with
Right.
BMV is that Janice Malloy has agreed to do it for
Yeah,
at least the next 3 months.
right, okay.
This is another one of those things that we need to deal with. We're covered right now, if
Right.
Janice is willing to do it.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure that we're gonna move forward with internal, bringing BMV back
Okay,
right off.
Right.
Okay, I think that it may be a long-term goal, it's not really my
Right.
decision.
right.
But right now, we've got Janice,
Mhm.
and I'll let Susan finish, you know, what
So
the deal is.
basically, when I spoke to Janice, she did, agree to do it until the end of September.
Oh, good,
So
okay.
for the next 3 months, and at a rate of, I think it would be $250 a month,
Did she
which
say?
is the $3,000 divided by 12.
Okay,
So she agreed to that sum of money,
Okay.
and, she did say that we will need to contact BMV from the state level
Mhm.
to find out what steps we need to do to bring it back.
to bring it back, okay.
And for
Okay.
now, because we have so much going on.
Right, right,
And to try to, you know, have
Right.
all the people in town,
Right.
all of a sudden now we're coming back here.
right,
You know, at some point, we talked about establishing office hours in here,
mhm,
but we don't have anything in place yet.
mhm,
I
So-
think it's a good stopgap measure, it's worked
Right.
pretty well.
Yeah.
This is a thing we've gotta
Oh, I
deal
think
with,
it's
but it's
wonderful.
like, you know,
I was
if
just knowing
it's
that there
being
was
dealt with right now,
$3,000,
it's like, okay.
that was already voted on.
Well, yeah, so I'm asking the board to, one,
Right.
consider it and then figure out a way to
Mhm.
fund it.
Yeah, I hear
Because,
that.
I mean, I would take it out of my salary, but, you know,
Oh, that doesn't make any sense.
that would be rough.
Yeah,
But
What kind of workload are you foreseeing a deputy taking on, how much?
I don't know, well, this goes, okay, from the tax collector's perspective, I don't know what the workload is like, for the individual, I just know that there's not a policy or a procedure in place, and so besides getting, up to speed with, you know, making sure our taxes go out on time this year, cause we were radically late this
Right.
past year,
Right,
would be the highest priority, and then obviously the collection of, those taxes, and then finding out the people who don't pay, we have, you know, notices to send out and
Yeah.
collection
The liens and all.
procedures and
Yeah.
stuff.
And you may not, because you're still getting your feet under you too on this, you may not be able to answer as well, but yeah, I'm really happy that you took on the treasurer and tax collector, positions. One thought that I have is that maybe the tax collector role would be more manageable by one person if that one person wasn't also the treasurer and had to obtain that workload. I think you're capable of it, and I really like the function of those two things together, so I still think it would be worth having you do both and having a deputy. But if that
Yeah.
ever changed, would the deputy position then become a little bit redundant and stagnant, because,
I can tell you that
Possibly.
my wife does it in the West Forks, she does both the
is
tax
she the
collector and
deputy,
treasurer.
or is she?
She does the tax collector and
She's
treasurer,
do they have a deputy tax collector?
they do not.
Okay.
No.
Does she wish they did?
I don't know,
she seems to think that it's pretty,
she does it
Straightforward.
she does a
straightforward,
good job on
she
it.
doesn't, I can tell you what she says, she says that Judy makes way more work than needs to be done. I think once you grab a hold of it, you're gonna find that it's.
Yeah, and that's the
totally
thing,
different.
you know,
But to get back to your topic, before we keep going way around topic, let's stay on the topic. As a board, you're asking us to consider, raising money or having a special town meeting or considering having a deputy, and that's what you're saying to go along with
Yeah,
your
and I'm
tax
not even
collector
sure how
report.
much I would utilize that
Right.
deputy at this
So-
point.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a look at what you're going, maybe come up with some sort of what you think might be a workload or a safe number, you know, like, maybe a 20% or whatever,
Some sort of
of
job
yours,
description.
right?
Yeah.
And then we can,
Yeah.
that way you have a little bit more information than you do right now, or, you know, a little better feeling of it, and we can discuss it and maybe move forward with it next month.
I like it.
Susan, do you have?
I just want to add to the conversation that R.H.R. Smith, one of their recommendations from almost the get-go was that, it would be beneficial for us to cross-train.
Yes.
So that, you know, if Evan, God forbid, anything happens, that we aren't,
No, we're not contesting that, all I'm saying is for us to go to the public and
Right.
say,
no, I
after
totally
we
understand.
just had our town meeting
Right.
last week,
Right,
I
right,
understand.
and have a
right,
special election, hey, we want more money for another position.
Right.
right.
So, let's have a little bit more of our ducks in a row, and
Yeah.
legs, and understanding of what exactly we're, want to get done and accomplished here before we, that's all I'm saying.
I think that's,
You know,
yeah.
I think I understand where you're coming from, but it's hard to,
Ask for the money.
ask for the money,
I know.
right, if you don't know what you're asking for.
Well, I
Right.
think
So-
you could be more specific with a little bit more time
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and.
and outline what those duties would be. I mean, would she go to the mailbox if you were on vacation? And would she, you know, or, I'm saying she, because I'm assuming it's Susan. But, you know, outline those kind of duties before the meeting, so people know what they're voting on and how
Yeah, we
important
would
it
have
would
to
be.
really.
I think it's a wonderful thing
Yeah.
myself.
My, perspective on this, and the role of the tax collector, really the clerk and the treasurer.
Yeah,
I look at them as the motor, the transmission, and the chassis of
oh,
the vehicle.
absolutely.
We're the drivers. We
Absolutely.
keep changing, okay? This is the foundation of the backbone of our community. They do you know what I mean? They're the ones that do the day-to-day nuts and bolts business of the community. And we're gonna come and go. We need to have a solid, you know what I mean? That piece of our town needs to be, in my opinion,
Nobody's contesting this, Charlie.
Solid, you know
All
what I
I
mean?
said is, let's get some
Yeah,
more information, and we'll table it until next week, so we have some more information, have some more discussion on it.
great.
So,
So that's all I have for the tax collector's
Okay.
report right there. It's pretty abbreviated.
Thank
the
you.
treasurer's report.
Now, do we make
Yeah.
a motion to?
accept it.
Except as read.
Okay, to accept the minutes, but we don't need to do anything
No,
about
make-
those requests.
No, we just say, accept Evan's report as.
I make a motion, we accept Evan's report as
read.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
the treasurer's report.
Yeah, treasurer's report, so the checkbook balance, as of today, June 18th, is $149,017.79. Two notable recent deposits, one is actually still pending from the state of Maine, which I will confirm tomorrow what that is. I believe it's tree growth, it's $37,304.43, so it's a really sizable amount of money just to kind of come into the checking account. The other sizable deposit was $14,640.31 for salt reimbursement. That just kind of came in. If you consider the two warrants that you guys are in the process of signing, the June payroll warrant, which is warrant 81, that was $1,205.60, and then our June AP warrant 82, which was $19,122.63. That will give us a working checkbook balance of $128,689.56.
Okay, one quick question, what's the AP?
Accounts payable.
Accounts
Accounts
payable, so
payable.
that's gonna be,
That makes sense?
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine, I got it now.
The reason that's so high at 19,000, that has a lot of money going to RHR Smith for audit costs, ongoing audit costs, so,
But that comes out of what we've raised in the,
yep.
yeah, okay.
And then it has bolsters. Bolsters was unusually high, because a lot of people are ordering dumpsters. I mean, really unusually
I
high.
was a part of it, yes, I know. Yeah.
But anyway, so
We
that's,
jumped on top of them and stuffed as much as we could.
okay, so the only thing that I'd like to add to the treasurer's report is, you know, our audit costs have skyrocketed because there are no processes or procedures in place. And I feel that, in this position, having a deputy or someone helping me out, in the end would help reduce costs, because we would, I mean, one place that we can easily save money is our auditing costs, because we pay so much more than other towns.
Evan, we're sold on the idea, but we just need something a little bit more
So, but what
doable
To sell it to the
to
people.
sell to the people.
Right.
After we just went through this last week, I mean, let's be honest,
Right.
we've gone through some fiscal,
Let me make sure I understand, are you talking about a second deputy for the treasurer?
It could be the same person, who's a
Single
deputy treasurer, deputy tax collector, who's also has the ability to do the position if I'm not here,
Right.
is what I would ultimately envision, but I don't know
So-
how much time that it will take, so I don't know what the compensation would be.
Right.
You know, if that's if it's an annual stipend to be a deputy, or is it variable?
I can find out from my wife what happens in the West Forks, whether she has a deputy or not. Actually, she does. Let me rephrase that, because I know, actually, she's the deputy to Lloyd on the treasurer.
Mhm.
Let me rephrase that. Yes, I do know that fact. But as far as the tax collector, I think she's a single. I don't.
So she's the sole tax collector, but the deputy
Deputy
treasurer.
treasurer to Lloyd,
Okay.
yes. So, those are appointed positions because of the nature of the, not education, but the experience that you need. Because we don't want to train somebody, you know, that you appoint, and then all of a sudden it's not gonna work out next week or next year or whatever. So, or you know what I'm saying, if we get somebody has some sort of that knowledge already, has a background in it, and so forth and so forth, we want to make that an appointed position. So yes.
It is appointed, actually, my understanding of the statute is that Evan can actually appoint.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Right now, he could
That's what
appoint a
Lloyd
deputy.
did, Denise, yes.
He
He could
just needs
appoint a
to make
deputy
it
right
paid.
now, but the only way that deputy would get paid would be out of his funds, and it's like.
So that's what we just need, a little bit more of an idea of how much, and I can ask Denise what she gets, I mean, just to compare.
Any information would be helpful.
I'll do that, and I'll get that from her, and,
Denise would be a resource to Evan on a lot of things. I don't know if you guys have interfaced at all, or
Yeah.
know each other at all, but.
Well, I've met her before, but
Yeah.
I don't.
she loves to chat.
I think the other thing too is about these deputy positions, it may not be something that we have to do in another year or down the road.
Right,
And I can tell you that I would have tried to get this through in this town meeting.
Yeah.
It
And
wasn't happening.
it could end up being just a
I'll
title.
disagree with you,
You know.
only on one aspect, is, and I see this with, and it's all coming back to me, Lloyd's in and out of the hospital quite regularly, so Denise has to step in quite regularly. So to have somebody that understands what's going on and be able to pick up, you know.
It's almost worth just to have the fail-safe.
Right,
Absolutely, that's why RHR recommends it, they said, you know,
So-
the town goes into collapse.
So as a sidebar, I've done the treasury position,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
for a few months.
Yeah.
I've worked on Trio as a.
I know you haven't, I
as
wasn't
a-
trying to sell
No, no,
Denise,
no,
I'm just
no,
saying.
I'm just letting you know, I've worked as a code enforcement officer, as a,
Yeah.
property assessor, as a treasurer.
I'm all for it,
So.
Well,
we just need something to
Whether or
go to the
not
people.
Evan would
Right.
want to work with me, that's another
I-
No,
whole
of course.
thing.
I think
Just saying.
we've beat this conversation up pretty
Yep.
well, and,
Anyway, so
We
that's
just
kind of
need-
where I'm at. I'd love to have assistance in funding
you
that.
sold us on it, but let's sell it to the people.
So, that's all I have for the treasurer's report, so.
Good. I make a motion, we accept the treasurer's report as read,
Second.
all in favor?
Thank you.
Okay, so the
This
clerk's
is fun, guys.
report.
Hope it'll get a little
We're
bit
getting
shorter.
stuff.
So we've already covered the BMV services, with, Janice Malloy.
Yep.
And, you know, I don't know that there's any value to me contacting BMV, the state agency, and finding out, I mean, maybe I probably could.
You can if you want to in your spare time, but I would make it a priority.
Right, just
I'd
to
make a
find out
motion.
what,
If it's a good appropriate time to make a motion, but I don't know if it's been approved or it needs to be formalized, but I'd make a motion that we accept her acceptance of us paying her $250 a month for 3 months to be reviewed before that 3-month time for renewal.
okay,
I second.
I second the motion.
all right.
Third.
Until, I think that, so there's a lot of things that are on this to-do list, and I think that one, because we have that backdrop of her willingness to do it inside the budget that the town approved, that takes a little bit off our plate.
That's exactly,
Just-
for now.
Yeah,
Right.
I think we have more pressing things to,
Yeah, I think down
That's
the
the way I
road,
look at
I
it.
think we wanna let the people make a decision, do we wanna make that a permanent?
right,
And see if the town, her town will make that a permanent, and go from there. But
And she
that's-
did mention how she wanted to be paid, did she, last year she wanted to be paid in advance in a lump sum, I think.
I didn't
Or maybe it was
get
at the
into
end.
that.
Okay, well, that might be something we need to follow
Who
up with.
seconded that motion?
I think Dave.
Dave, okay.
But you're correct, let's handle the bigger fires
Yeah.
first.
And then all in favor, did we already? do
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Okay, perfect, sorry.
No, I think I'm still getting used to the flow here, I might have just jumped right in the middle of your
Yeah.
commercial.
No,
I'm sorry.
that's awesome, cause I think that did need a motion.
That's right,
MMA membership access, I gave you all, or actually Justin and Dave a handout for instructions on how to do that, if you need more help.
And I think we came to the agreement, we're gonna wait till we get a website.
That,
email.
right.
Emails.
Get the email
Yeah,
sorted.
Yeah,
yeah.
once that's done,
No,
we'll
you're right,
do our due diligence and we'll jump right on that.
Okay, the next topic of conversation is, whether or not we wanna use Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or if we wanna adopt a remote policy, but, one of the things that we were just talking about today, Evan wants to meet with, Karen from RHR Smith, and they, in order to share screens and whatever, Zoom or some sort of a, remote access software needs to be, we need to buy a membership.
Is this gonna
So
be
it's-
something
For the
that would
town.
be a membership for, you have to come to the town hall, or is it gonna be something
Yeah.
you can download on your phone, or?
No,
Yeah,
download
I
on your
need-
phone anyway.
Oh, you
What is
Oh,
the,
yeah, okay.
what is the intended function for this video? Is it for people
Uh,
to watch the meetings, for you to be able to interface with our?
Correct.
No, so I call them sometimes when I don't know how to do certain accounting functions, because they're our auditor. And, they're going to, for example, we have year end at the end of this month. I've never done a year end in the accounting world, and so they're going to, they required me to have a camera and a video, thing, which she has, so we don't have to buy one for the town. And they're going to have me they're gonna be able to log into my computer and actually help me.
They're gonna be able to control.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and if we had Teams, I think that's what they use, right?
They
That's what
use
Ron
Microsoft Teams. I
Teams,
gave you guys a
That they can
handout
help, they
for
can share stuff
different
with us.
prices and.
They should, if it's their request, they should have the function to share
They
that.
should.
with
Well, you
We
gotta
don't
They
have to-
should,
you gotta have it on your device as well, though.
But you shouldn't have to, like, if someone's inviting you as a guest into something, you should have,
no.
you might have to get the app or
No, you're
download
right,
the
but
software.
we don't have to pay
Should
for
have to
it,
pay
we
for
don't
that.
have to pay for it, but that's just
Microsoft
one
Teams, I think you
example of Evan.
You have to have it.
I'm asking, do we want a Zoom membership so that we can have, people
I
who are in the
would
community.
prefer Microsoft Teams, and I only say that is because Zoom has been hacked 100 million times. My place of business, Brookfield, we use Microsoft Teams, it's a little more secure, and it's very interactive, very easily to.
It's what our
Yeah.
auditor
So
uses.
the my only suggestion is that if we go into this Google Drive or
Yeah.
Google Workspace, Google Meet, I have found is pretty comparable to Microsoft.
Is it, yeah,
It is, I don't know, Celeste uses Microsoft Teams with Red Cross, so Microsoft Teams is big companies,
It
Red
is.
Cross, Brookfield, you know?
Yeah.
It's probably got features that we will never even think about touching.
I think Google is in that comparison that I sent to you
Yeah,
guys.
so Google's version of Zoom or Microsoft Teams is just called Google Meet.
but can we get this set
Yes.
up in time?
So here's the thing,
Well,
is
it
when,
shouldn't matter for what.
I think they're
he's
gonna be able to
doing.
help me do.
He's gonna, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As long as you can get your.
this is
your-
an
that's what
independent
I was concerned
conversation,
about.
so
Yeah.
back when Chris was one of the assessors,
Yeah, I'm
you're not
opposed to that.
in favor of
I think you
having,
need to come to your meetings, I don't think it should be a remote thing.
okay.
I think this is,
Even for, people outside of the, I mean, who are residents here, who can't come to the meeting, do you think that they should participate remotely?
you know, if our budget was a little bit bigger, we could have it televised like Augusta does, but
Okay,
we're a small, and this is my own opinion, you know, people live right here in the community, if they wanna come to the meeting, they can come to the meeting. We don't hide anything, you upload it onto YouTube.
Yeah.
When it's done, I don't think we need an interactive,
okay, that's
that's my
fine.
opinion, for the
Yeah.
public.
Yeah,
I think if the public wants to be interactive, they can come to the meeting. If they wanna see the meeting, they can, I mean, you download it
Right.
correct, so.
I do,
I would agree.
so,
And that- and
at
you'll have
this
that
point,
link.
we don't even need to buy Microsoft Teams, or do we?
Good, no, let's wait, because I think Justin's correct, if we can get the Google thing, the Google account set
That'll
up,
have-
that'll have that
True, and
feature
that's
on there.
free.
Right, and we'll have that feature.
Yeah.
So if there's an urgent situation where one of us is out of town and, you know, you're out of town and somebody's trying to do one of your roles on the computer, Google Meet allows screen sharing, all this
Right.
stuff. I'm pretty certain, unless we're willing to pay bigger bucks than we need to, you won't be able to control the mouse for them, but you can say, click over on that button, go to
Right,
that
but
drop down.
Just so you are up to speed, Justin, if we have a meeting, and a meeting consists of 2 or more people who are talking town business, if we do that, you have to have a public hearing. If you meet and you're talking.
Meaning public notice.
I'm just talking about daily business, if
Yeah.
there's like a need, like if he's out of town and needs one of us to do something in the office that we are not used to doing,
Right,
Google Meet would be sufficient for.
I just don't know if that constitutes a meeting in legal terms.
No, that constitutes,
It would be.
that constitute.
Could it be anything, would it be?
If Evan had a deputy, and the deputy was in there and couldn't figure out something, and Evan was on the Bahamas, he could get on that and say, okay, click this button, click that button.
Yeah, I
That's not-
think it's, assessors are in a different,
Would it be any different than making a phone call? Like, can we make phone calls to one another?
I mean, we've
without having a
had,
public
I think
record?
you're talking two different subjects.
well, maybe, but we were talking about like, when we were doing budget meetings, and we asked MMA, is this, you know, it was just
We have
Sandy and
to
Charlie.
announce it.
Is this a meeting? Yes, absolutely it
That
is.
should be publicized, yeah, I was just trying to speak to the value of Google Meet
Okay.
for daily business helping. I didn't, maybe I was
So no, I think that sounds perfect.
Okay.
yeah.
And the next thing, it's already been taken care of. Charlie found me that information, I forwarded it to, Heather tonight, so she's good with that. So that's my report.
I guess
Nice.
it is an unfortunate name for Google Meet, because then it sounds like you're meeting, but.
Yeah.
I make a motion to
I-
accept the
It's basically
clerk's
a phone
report
call.
as read.
I second it.
All in favor?
Was there one more thing about this, payments on Moxie Road?
No, that's just something.
It came up at the town meeting,
Okay.
and I didn't wanna lose it.
Okay.
It came
It's
up.
been satisfied.
Alright,
You good to move on, Susan?
Yeah.
Article 7, acceptance of minutes for Assessors Meeting on May 21st, 2024. I don't know, I think you guys got an email.
I read them, yep.
yeah, I did.
You have
Any-
hard copies there as well?
Any discussion?
Oh, I make a motion, we accept them as
Second.
presented, yeah.
Very good.
I thought all things considered, that meeting went pretty swimmingly.
I thought it went great.
Yeah.
I tell you what I
I
took
like
from
that,
that
the
meeting is
moderator.
a sense of unity and shared purpose moving forward.
Did I
That was
understand
really,
that
really
moderator
strong.
was $50?
Yeah.
That
It
should
was
be
worth
every
every
single
cent.
time.
He was a good
Every
He
single
was
time.
worth way more than 50.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yes.
believe he did it for, we should, that hardly covers.
He was
That's
good.
who's gonna get by him.
Very
covers
good.
gas and beer on the way home.
That was
That was
excellent, he moved it along very well, yes.
Yeah.
It was great.
And, the annual town meeting minutes of June 12th, 2024, I make a motion, we accept those as written.
Second? No,
In
that was
favor?
the previous one.
Oh, yeah.
Whew. Audit update.
Who has that?
Well, I can tell you that, our 2022 audit is in quality control right now, so it's being secondarily audited to make sure that what their findings are in fact findings.
Awesome.
So we are, you know, I hate saying this, but we're getting close, cause that's what we keep saying.
Wonderful,
But it
wonderful.
is, I mean, Karen did say that it's, mostly done, and the other thing that's kinda nice to hear is that they're gonna do the 23 and 24 audit together.
Oh, good.
So,
That's good, so,
it is, I
Yeah.
mean, so it'll cut down on costs, which
Sure.
is what we really wanna see happen, and timing, so,
right.
I think we're gonna have something, within a month, before the next, assessors
We'll
meeting.
have the 22 audit.
Yeah, we'll have the 22 audit, that's the one that we're all waiting for, I mean,
Awesome.
you
That's what
know.
the town, all of the town people do.
But I don't think it's as bad as like I mean, it's you know, they had to do a lot of movement of things and things weren't entered in and stuff like that, but,
They cleaned it up,
Yeah.
and it costs
Very
money to
nicely.
clean it up, you know, but.
we all know.
So just to clarify, the 23 and the 24 audit being done together, would that mean we won't see the 23 audit until the 24 audit? So we won't see the 23 audit until 2025, I imagine?
Well, we're still looking for the 22 audit.
I know.
It's
I don't
usually-
know, that's a good question. I
So,
just, I don't
on a
know.
normal year, so this was the 24, what we would have had at town meeting would have been the audit for
23,
22.
Right.
22, right?
23.
22, 23.
I think he was saying.
So it's like, it's
fiscal
always a
20.
year late, it's a year, you know what I mean, it's the prior year that you're getting the audit from,
Right, okay.
so.
So the 23, 24, it isn't up to date, it won't be up to date, it's
It's not
June
I
30,
think he's saying
24.
the 22, 23, and then the 23, 24.
Right, is what they're gonna work on.
But does
At
that
the
bring
same
us up to
time.
June
Yes.
of 24? Is that,
I-
Yes.
I understand
Yes,
Yes,
that would bring us up to June of 24, so.
Wow.
it's
Understood,
This month.
now I understand.
This
Yeah.
month.
Okay.
It's like a school year, you know?
Yeah.
you only
Our
have-
fiscal year
Yeah.
wraps 2 calendar
Yeah,
years.
which
So-
is-
Yes,
I
And we
don't
call,
know.
just
exactly.
so we
It's
call,
very complicated.
so we don't just call it the year 23 until June 24, we call it the 23-24 year,
Right.
just for my,
Yeah.
okay,
For
okay.
clarification,
Okay.
I mean,
It works for me, I just wanna make sure I'm using the right
Yeah.
line.
Anyway,
I just would've called that
They
all
did mention today
2023
that
because
they're
it's-
gonna do both of those audits together. There's gonna audit us in the full spectrum,
That's a
cause,
good continuous. Good.
which is another reason why having a deputy would be extremely helpful, cause we are, when they're, you know, like, just findings, like, we're doing bank reconciliations on,
All right, so we have a
2022
special
right
town
now.
meeting, we're gonna give you the floor.
Yeah,
I
absolutely,
think you're convinced,
absolutely.
Sell it.
I will.
cool.
No,
so when
no,
we
you sell
talked
it.
to him today, we had a conference call, he said, I said, so 2 weeks? He did say yes, I'm not sure that we can hold him to it, but
Right,
he did say that.
I heard that.
I think by the next assessors meeting, a month, that's 4 weeks, I mean, I think we'll have it in 2 to 3, but we'll certainly have it by the next meeting.
That's nice.
I hate putting my,
We won't hold you
We,
to it.
Yeah,
We don't have much
we
control over
did
it.
ask if he doesn't get it to us in 2 weeks, that he writes a letter to.
we did
us.
ask that.
All we
Write a
need.
letter why you didn't get us.
That's
Right.
all we need. I
That's
mean,
what we
wouldn't
asked
you do
for.
that for your,
I'm confident that it's gonna be done.
your business people that, you know, are buying your services? You know, I'm working on it, and this, we've run into this and that, I mean, something,
Right,
other than just passing the word along through Evan, you know, that,
right, no,
that's in a
that,
bad
no,
position.
he agreed to do that, if it's, but he will,
Yeah.
That's good.
I don't think
I visited his website today to get his
Yeah,
phone number.
it's got some notes in it, yeah.
I couldn't believe how many
One thing.
people,
That's all that I wanted.
employees, he puts their face on his
Mhm.
website,
Mhm.
whatever, a little bio. It seemed like hundreds.
Mhm.
He has expanded his business.
Well, then he needs to say say, I've expanded and I'm, I don't have enough help and this is why but he's just passing those words along through
Right.
Sandy, which you didn't believe.
I explained that to him.
Anyway.
I said the
Yeah.
messenger had some credibility issues.
That's right, that's right.
Saying.
That's all we needed.
So I don't think I need a motion on that one because it's not any action item.
No.
So we're on old business now, was that it?
Yeah, no, that's all, that's everything I have. Old business.
I don't have any old business, I don't think. I have a little bit of new business.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is old business or new business. So, I didn't notice this at the annual meeting, Ben Toll stood up and gave a big speech about, the Trail Club and how the grant works and stuff like that. And I got reading the book, we, in our, the request, we authorized $1,500 to a donation to the club. He was actually requesting $7,000 for the, Trail Club, and for the ATV rideys, he was asking for $4,000 to match his grant. And I don't know if we, wanna revisit that, or if we can.
We raised too much?
That's here.
No, we didn't create,
They wanted 11,000 and they got
Oh, we did?
1,500.
Yeah.
oh, okay, sorry, I thought it was 1,500 for some reason.
No, and if you look at the minutes,
Okay.
there's another column where I put in
Oh, good,
actual.
I should
So
have went to that
what
page
we,
first.
if you look at the minutes to, June 12th.
Yeah.
Like I said,
No,
in
I
that
didn't
table,
look.
I added another column.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that, because that grant money is important and that is, a livelihood to.
Would've been a good catch if we did it wrong.
Correct, yeah, for their businesses, for our general area, brings in a lot of income for
Yeah.
the businesses.
I have
Okay, thank you.
a couple things for new business, but one of them dovetails actually with this, because it was in relation to the fundraising and the donation requests. I just by happenstance, ended up having a good conversation with Lindsay Doria while I was eating dinner at the end the other night, and she was, talking about, third assessor, all this stuff, and we're talking about the meeting, and, she enlightened me to a lot of things, and I'll be honest, I kind of, at that point in the town meeting, I was a little bit like blurry and foggy,
Everyone was.
Yeah,
Right.
but, so I don't recall specifically the arguments for or against the donation to the hospice organization, Hospice Volunteers of Somerset County. Lindsay was quite upset about that, and I took the opportunity to figure out why, because I realized I thought I remembered somebody saying something like, this organization doesn't actually service our area
Well,
for
right.
hospice services, which I
Yeah.
thought was valid, so I actually didn't vote, or I guess I voted to do 0, because that's all I remember really hearing,
Mhm.
and it was a pretty overwhelming majority vote anyway. But she expressed to me that organization does a whole lot more as far as hospital visits, people that are in the hospital without next of kin, family members who have who are in grievance and things like that. That may not be the traditional sense of hospice, of coming to someone's house and caring, but they're available to meet you at the hospital.
They need to put that in their letter,
I agree.
or send a representative.
I agree, and that's effectively kind of what I left the conversation as well. I told her, to be honest with you, I had no idea. I had, I guess, a stunted understanding of what a hospice agency does. I always just pictured someone going to your house to care for you.
Right,
That's
but
what
you
we
do
have
have to.
And that's what most people think of.
Yeah,
and
and so that's what I implied, poured upon her, was, she was like, I wanted to speak up, I was just tired, and I was like, I think maybe if you did, it would've helped, because I think a lot of people think what I thought. And as soon as someone heard, well, they don't service our area, then they're like, why would we donate?
Well, I think people called for hospice, that
Did
lived
they?
in Carrollton,
Yeah.
and they said, we don't service your area.
Yeah,
So
I'm
what-
sure it's valid that they
So
don't.
what Heather explained was that they were working to
Northern Light
include
is-
us in their service area, but they actually don't have personnel who are driving up to
Okay.
the Forks area.
Right,
But
So-
Northern Light is supposed to be starting to serve our area, and
They
they're
are, but they
separate
s-
from hospice of
Yes, they are.
Somerset County.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, and
So-
so,
I guess I might just, and I didn't have any intent with bringing this up and making any change, but it might be worthwhile if there were things that were not donated to or raised funds for, do we respond at all in that sense? And could there be, some sort of qualitative response that says, we'd love to know more about what you do for our community so that we can make a better decision next
When
time?
the donations come in, I think we could reach out if that's, I mean, but
What do you mean, when the requests come in?
I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
it
Well,
has to
we-
be,
did it-
I think it has to come to the floor when the
It
people,
does.
when the people are here that are raising the money.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, no, I agree, but do we respond to the folks that we said no to, I guess, is there a response?
I think that what I have to, is somebody has to respond to all of them.
Okay.
Soon, and say, cause
This is what was
it
decided.
happened to me today, I'm like, oh, I think we sent out a letter last year telling everybody
Yeah.
that we had to, and you're not gonna get your check until, whatever, January or something, cause we gotta wait till our taxes come in and our account looks again, but I think we just send them to say, we wanna let you know that we have, the voters approved $1,500 donation,
Yep.
and we'll be sending it in January or something like that, I forget what we did, but.
And then, and maybe a response to the
And the
ones who
hospital
voted
say-
down, saying, this is what we ended up doing,
And
this is our budget, we have some
Well,
budget
I
constraints,
can-
we'd love to
I'm
consider
trying to
this,
remember when we sent.
so,
love to consider this in the future,
Didn't we do
maybe
that,
consider
something
sending
about this?
someone to better explain what it is.
Well, we sent them late because our town meeting was 2 months late.
Right.
so as a note to hospice, when my father was sick with Alzheimer's, they would not take him because,
Mm.
because they have to have a terminal illness, and Alzheimer's is not a terminal illness.
Yeah.
Well, 6
So
months.
he was, whatever, they have their limitations too.
Yeah.
They are a good organization, but
Yep.
they also have their parameters that they work within, and
You can't hate them for shooting their shot though, looking for a little
Yeah.
bit of donation.
What I can do,
Yeah.
and to hospice, and I'll
Yeah.
just explain.
And that's something I might be able to sit down with you, because that's something that I could maybe take off your plate as far as,
With the
Letters.
hospice one, or all the letters?
interagency communication,
Okay,
I could.
we have
I
them all
think-
right there, the
Oh, I
addresses.
thought he already got the PR.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's gonna be a learning curve, there's gonna be some,
Yeah, right?
if you've got a point of contact.
As you learn.
The point of contact I'd have to do is go back to the town book, because they all have their
Okay.
requests,
Right.
and I just use that address, that's probably what I would have,
Okay.
what I would do. I'm old school, I'm not like you guys, I would sit there and probably type the letter and print a bunch of copies, and then fill in the blanks, like to hospice, to KV cog,
I'll
to.
probably just send an email.
Whatever.
That's okay.
I think you might be a better
Yeah.
person to do this,
Yeah.
and I'd be, anyway, so, yeah, that'd be great if you
Okay.
did that. We should let the people too, so they can know, it's like, okay, you got, we approved your $1,000, it's gonna come in,
Mhm.
I don't know when we should think about it, that would might be something that the treasurer could weigh in, but maybe by the end of the year or something, would that make sense?
Well, I think we should do it, they've been approved,
Yeah.
so it's when you guys decide you wanna do it.
Yeah.
We did it later in the year last year because our town meeting was late by 2 months.
That's right, that's
And we
why
were
we sent
catching
the
up.
letter, to tell them that the
So
town
this
meeting
year,
was
town
late.
meeting was at the normal time, I think we should
Just
just,
send the payment.
As
Yeah.
long as the checkbook is.
well, I mean, we do like, what, 25,000 in donations, and we have about 150 grand right now, so I mean, it's not gonna,
How does the payment function, do you write the check and send it from here, does it come from the bank directly? Could a letter be included with the check, or does that not work that way? Should we-
I cut the checks right here, and then whoever decides to take Sandy's job and mail those checks out,
So a letter could be put in the
a letter
envelope?
could be put in with
There you
with
go.
the check,
Okay,
yeah.
I make a motion that we pay our charity fund, then let Justin attach his letter.
I
I
second.
assume there's a template letter somewhere?
My experience with the templates is that we create our own.
Okay, I'll do the template, okay.
I just did one for payroll.
You made a nice payroll template, I like it, I approve.
Yes.
I just wonder, and I don't have an answer for this, I'm just like throwing this out, because maybe you could all just figure it out, and maybe it's not important to anybody, but it seems like these donations just pour into the Forks, and they're put in the town book as they should be for the meeting, and the people vote on them, but there's never any, I don't know whether I would call it a recommendation, or at least a status of, I mean, there's gonna come a time, I mean, donations could add up to $100,000. I mean, the letter from the Lakes place, I mean, nobody even knew what that was, but it's really easy for those donation letters to come in and get put into the town report without any recommendation from the board as to our budget constraints or anything. I mean, is that anything that, I don't know, I just see that
It would be
as-
nice to know what our money's getting, you know, what we're getting for our money, you know.
Well, and
information, or
just,
see a
you know,
status
every
report.
year, things
So,
just get,
I think,
they increase.
I
and
think what we
increase.
could handle that as we do with the rest of our elections. The board recommends,
Right,
you
right,
know,
exactly.
so, and I'm gonna use the ATV riders. ATV riders are
Right.
requesting $7,000, and after
Right.
you don't hear from it, does the board agree to get that grant money, or is he trying to get
Right.
$2,000 more, and we can just say, we recommend $5,000?
I would
We
love to
could
see
have a
that, 'cause I-
column that says request and then another column.
Right,
says
recommendation, I mean, at least then
Yeah,
and then
you
the
know what
third
the
to
budget
say
is, the
actual
people sitting here
rates.
have no idea.
No, that's a good
And-
one. And
Well,
then,
one of my concerns,
And
you
it
bring up
comes at
some,
the end, people just wanna get the meeting over with, and I think it's really easy for us to just
Okay.
throw money out there that we don't, number one, even know what it's going for.
I tried to address that at the meeting, I'm a little concerned, it's like, oh, let's send something to the Forks, they pay.
Exactly.
You know, like we're suckers,
Exactly.
we're an easy mark.
I'm gonna put a donation.
And I don't wanna be like,
Yeah,
oh, just.
no, but
just add a column.
seriously,
I think I think the next time I go for donations, I think we just add a column, the board recommended.
I mean, do we try to keep it local, do we try to keep it, you know, and by local, I don't mean just the Forks, but, you know,
Something that benefits the town.
the residents or something, and we donated for years, ever since I can remember, to the hospice volunteers of Somerset County, until a resident stood up and said, you know, they don't come to our area, and nobody knew that up to that
Right,
time, so
exactly.
I think it's just easy for that to just, I just see that as
Mission
really getting
creep,
out of
they
hand
call
at
that,
some
right?
point.
Right,
I can draft up a letter to send to all the requests in addition to the response letter for that just says, you know, moving forward, imploring them to send a representative, provide a narrative, what's been done, what's the plan, how
Mhm.
does it benefit the Forks
Exactly.
town people, because that's really what they need to know.
Right,
right.
right.
Because these, people are voting to use their tax dollars to go to a, presumably a 501c3
Exactly.
agency, so. it
I
would-
mean, we get requests for animal shelters in California, you know, because they just go online and just go down and,
yeah,
they send
cast
it
it
out.
out, yeah, you'll-
and
Definitely
once
an
you
area
donate one time, you
Mhm.
never come off the list.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we did that, we just said, we're only going to donate to things within, you know, at least the state of Maine, and maybe our geographic area within so far, I mean, and we even went to the point that we really like to donate to things that benefit children, or
Yeah.
young, you know, young adults and young people, and
Well, that's heard, and I think it's agreed upon, that there should be a little bit more of a,
I think
Of a
people would
filter.
appreciate it.
I heard you say something at one point, and I think I agree with it, that if somebody submits something to the town for that purpose, we kind of have the duty to present it to the town.
Oh, yes.
So we can't be the ones that say,
absolutely.
well, that one's not
No,
making it in the
no.
book, so what,
No, that
but
wasn't my point
we
at
can,
all.
I can get to know the back ends of how we receive those requests and
Mhm.
when, and do we
And
send out
what is our
reminders?
budget for donations to the following year? I mean, everything else in the town
Well, there's
report is
another-
recommended.
We could start out by, try to raise our budget for donations,
Just setting a cap and
setting
then
a cap, and then,
giving
Right.
percentages.
I mean, I think that way the townspeople understand that, hey, look,
There's,
there's
Yeah.
$25,000
If you
here that we've been, as a cap,
yes,
but there's $30,000 worth of requests, where do
that's
you wanna
right.
cut?
So
Right.
figure
Let the
it
people
out.
understand.
Exactly. That was kind of my
Right,
thought process, was
And that
that
might be something we bring
we
up for
would
the next
welcome
town
that
meeting,
input
as far
from-
as,
the town.
what would the town like to use as a cap for
right.
Yeah.
for donations. Cause I don't think they realize how much we actually spend.
Yeah.
And what happened, it did, is people burned by the end of it, when we came up with that last meeting, like, I don't care what the money is or where it's going,
That's
we're
right.
done, just give it to
No,
them.
they
I wanna go
wanted
home.
us just to not even
They
go
wanted to
from one
approve
to
all
one.
of them.
That was Tom. Tom said
Tom
he'll just
said-
approve them all, and then he ended up voting.
Go down two.
Who was that?
Yeah.
Jimmy?
No,
Tom.
Tom said that.
Oh.
He was the one that said, can we just approve them all at once, and then he was the catalyst
What
behind
is
this
his
approval.
tax bill? He'll
let's,
have- he'll
So
see
do I
it
have a
because
second on Dave? Dave made a motion to pay the donations and to include
Oh,
a
yeah.
letter. What is the letter? The
The
letter
public relations guy.
Yeah, I'll write a letter that says,
Congratulations.
we're excited, we're excited to donate, your request is,
And then a reminder of next
How
year.
about a second?
and then I'll,
I second.
Good job. Good job.
all three of them.
Okay.
All right, I also make a motion that we add to our, template for next year's meeting, a cap, or what the town will raise for a cap, a set amount for
Or at least your
donations.
recommendations.
A recommendation,
Yeah.
we could do that, but still, it's,
Yeah,
Why don't
it's
we,
your
why don't we-
money, right?
that's right.
So,
are you okay if we make this motion be a little bit open-ended, like we make it a priority to discuss what a good strategy would be there, whether it's a cap or limiting the amount it can
Right.
increase year over year, you know, so it can't increase
As a
more.
percentage of revenue,
Yeah, just,
Well, that's.
Yeah,
that's
any-
Percentage of revenue is
coming
pretty
from the
good.
treasurer.
I guess my whole
That's-
cannot
point is-
exceed 5% of revenue.
is the point is, and I think what we're trying to say is,
It just gets.
how much does the town people want to actually spend? I mean,
Yeah.
before we go, next thing you know, it's
Right.
$100,000, we don't have $100,000 to give them donations.
yeah.
Right now, we're at 25. Right,
Right.
things are
agree,
rapidly
yeah.
increasing, they used to be, they used to be $500, then
Yeah,
Well, I
people would
know.
raise them to 1,000, then they went to 15, then they
Right.
went to 2, now they're at 7 and 4, and
No, it's definitely, and I feel like, you know, to not address it,
Yeah.
we're kind of presenting ourselves as suckers.
Right.
It
But
would be
but I
an
also
easy
understand
mark.
too that if, I know what the ATV and what Ben's trying to get is that grant money because of the flooding, cause the
Mhm.
catastrophic events we had last
trying to
December.
get that match money.
Yeah, to match money. So if next year he comes, we don't wanna make sure this is every year. it's a normal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Susan always brings this up, what did other towns donate?
Yeah.
You know, when
I
other
agree,
towns
100%.
donate $500 and we're looking at donating 11,000 or
7,000.
something.
But we can't get that, unless they come forward with it, that's.
No, but she asks that question.
Right.
And,
But I think, I guess my whole motion, it can be
right,
amended anyway. All I'm trying to do is make sure that we have it for next year,
Yep.
to have that for a discussion on our agenda.
right.
So
So
I-
you can help us
so-
make that book,
Why
put
don't
that
we,
book together next year.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
that
so
book's
it-
gonna be a lot different than, it's not like, this was here last year, so we're gonna put that again this year.
Right.
So
We
I've
should- we
written
made some
motion to
improvement this
come up
year.
with a
It wasn't the
strategy to
easiest
address
thing to do,
donation
you know.
amount in next year's warrant.
I
That
think
sounds
that's
great.
great.
Yeah.
I think, I'm still learning here, but I think that's a good way to formalize an intent of ours as a collective
As a
body,
discussion.
to do a work session on something. It's not
Yeah.
something we're not just talking about it here, it's gonna dissipate.
Right,
There's a
right,
motion and an agenda, in a meeting minutes that says, this is something we're gonna work on,
And
prioritize it.
if we have a special town meeting to raise money for a deputy, we can always present it at that time.
Mhm.
And say, look, this is what we come up with, because the results of this, we just spent $25,000 in donation. What would the townspeople, you could combine that in that special town meeting, couldn't you?
Yes, of course.
That way,
I have on new business, we're done with old, cause I have.
Oh, I thought we were on it, sorry.
I thought that was-
I thought this was all new.
Did anyone second your
I don't think so.
motion?
I second.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
then I think we voted too.
Yeah,
All in
I
favor?
think you guys did vote.
Well, you
did.
voted to pay the donations
Oh, okay, yeah,
and
that's
to
fine.
include a letter, but you made another motion to come up with a strategy.
And Charlie seconded it, and I'll go all in favor.
Perfect,
Alright.
yay,
Good
all
job.
right.
Thank you, Susan.
New business, and this is one of the things that I was concerned about when Sandy and I were putting together the warrant, was, she's stuck on doing, just replicating exactly what was there the year before, without even really much thought about what the future expenses might be. Could they be less this year, could they be more? It's just like locked into just basically duplicating. In consideration of that, we came up with a budget for Trio, which is Harris, and I think it was, I'd have to look in the book, I think it was $8,800. And that was based on a 5% increase over last year, which is what they said that, you know, we could use as a rough figure. Well, that was $8,800, we got a, estimate $11,416, $2,500 short of what we raised. Okay?
It's amazing how much we spend on that.
This is a
computer
concern of
program.
mine moving forward, of running out of money.
Yeah.
And so if we do have a special town meeting, I feel like we could catch up on some stuff like this and say, look, you know, we need another $3,500 for Harris, for Trio. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and it was a concern of mine, cause I'm new at it, and the same with like the municipal, town hall and plantation charges.
We
There's so
should've had
much
a
stuff
quote.
in there.
Basically, instead of just going with what we had, we should've got a quote.
We got this from.
We got them, they got that after the town meeting.
After the town.
After
So that
the
was the
town
vote
meeting.
that came in after the town meeting?
That
Sorry
was
for
the
the
bill
delay
that
getting
was-
back to you, I've been out of the office. Please find the 24-25 Trio maintenance, estimate.
So we send a letter back saying, we didn't hear from you.
That was on the
And this is how
14th.
much money we raised.
That was on the 14th. There's some question to me about this blue book piece of it, this is a different component to Trio, that might be associated with BMV, I'm gonna call Harris and find out, we might not need that. But if we
Oh,
take
yeah.
BMV back, we might, I don't really know.
What can you
Denise
buy?
does her registrations by hand.
Denise doesn't use Trio, she
Yeah.
says it's a lot
Yeah.
easier without it.
So,
I think it is.
Solon,
It's not a huge, because of the numbers of people, but.
Prices are subject.
Yeah, but our town isn't much bigger than your town. I mean,
so
West
Solon
Fork's and
uses,
That's what
Fork's
I'm
about the
saying.
same, right?
Yeah,
Solon uses Trio for tax collecting and that's it?
No, Dallas Plantation uses for tax collecting only, they had the whole module,
I
they
think
got rid of it except for the
ultimately,
tax
that would
collecting.
be Evan's comfort zone, whether he wants to stick with Trio, or whether he wants to do it by hand, just to go along.
Hey, I'm
with
open
what you
to,
said.
a lower cost alternative if you guys present something that I can work with.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should really talk with Denise too, cause she's been doing this
Yeah, I don't
for
know
a
what
few
she uses
years.
for
I mean, I can use Trio on
She
the
uses
treasurer side, I haven't learned it on the
QuickBooks as
tax
well.
collector side, but
That was
it's
the-
not that hard, it's just old and expensive.
Yeah, so, like, I honestly, if, you could reach out to Denise, you have the contact, right?
Yeah.
I'll let her know that you're going to, and she'll be more than happy to field any of those questions.
Thank
you
you
all
for
for
showing up.
coming.
Hey, thank you guys for
Appreciate it.
coming, I'm sorry.
I just can't believe you made it this far.
Right?
Yeah,
We don't
we're
drive
almost-
at dark.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
Good night, good night.
well, it's nice to
Thank you.
have North Cove representation.
Yeah, thank you.
No question.
It's North Shore.
North Shore.
North Shore,
Yeah.
sorry.
That must be you vibrating, not me.
Is this, maybe,
Yeah, oh, well, I'll just keep-
is this, so if we wanted to explore alternatives to Trio, it might be short-sighted, but doing things by hand feels like going backwards. And if there are alternatives to Trio that are within budget, provide the resources we need, doesn't come with the stuff we don't need, whose responsibility would it be to explore those options? Could we give you the freedom, Evan, to explore those and come to us with 2 or 3 ideas and what they cost and why you think they're the pros and cons of each? Is that something you'd be interested in doing, or?
Yeah, I mean, I could look into that,
Maybe
it's
it's.
hard, cause we've paid for and are in the process of getting ready to convert our Trio from one platform to another platform, it's already been paid for.
Right,
And so, we've gotta see that through.
Right.
We're kind of pot committed to that.
Mhm.
So maybe
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
something we spend
we're
a
gonna
year
go
thinking about for
from
next year.
The access database thing, or access, whatever they call it, to web-based.
Okay,
And
so
we've
like
already-
QuickBooks Online.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
and,
cool.
I
But on
mean,
steroids.
I feel like we have to, we're committed to that.
Yeah.
And, I just feel like we should see it through.
I think that's valuable.
we've also come off such a mess, I mean, nothing was done right,
Right.
nothing, they didn't use Trio, it was just such a mess, that's why the audit's costing so much. I mean,
So maybe it's something that
It
we,
just doesn't seem like a good time for
Keep on
you
the
to
back burner, maybe
branch out
somebody we
again
might
if
wanna
you're
migrate to it
comfortable with
at
what
some
you're
point, but
doing.
So
I
what,
would
then
agree
you
with
can
that,
revisit
but,
it.
But it is expensive.
I'm pretty sure
Well,
Solon,
less
registers
donations
their
than-
vehicles also by hand. And I know, I mean, I know that I did it using Trio in Emden,
Mm.
registered vehicles, and here actually. So, I
Well,
just-
maybe the auditor would have a suggestion,
true.
you know? As
haven't
he's
tried.
finishing up with it, just
that he
tell
probably
him
sees
that was
them all.
brought up at town meeting and you're, instructed to explore this. Does Karen have a suggestion? She knows how much volume we have, or how little we have, and the mess that we've been in. I
That's a
think they
great
would
idea, cause
be in
we're
a
in so
really
many
good position
towns.
to
Yeah.
Yeah,
recommend something to you,
yeah.
maybe?
so
Yeah.
what's this bill for? Is this for the training? Or is
Nope.
this for?
No,
the
that's
usage?
Training's not-
For the program
for the program.
Program.
and some training.
So when does this, so this is the updated program? Is it,
No,
is
it's
this
their
something that's
annual.
gonna, annual?
I believe so, let me see.
So you're gonna look forward to this
It's a-
every year?
It's an estimate for annual maintenance fees, prices subject to change. This is what they think it will cost us. We
Annual
were-
hosting fee.
This line item is potentially unnecessary, Blue Book, if it's related to BMV and we're not doing that.
Okay, so,
That would get us closer.
yeah,
Yeah.
And it is just an estimate, maybe it comes in under, I don't know.
You're, bless you.
Right.
Budgetary is what I use.
yeah,
You know, I don't know Trio Web annual hosting fee, that's the giant one.
that's the one that you're trying to migrate to, yeah, right? That's the
I
one you
guess,
talked
so
about?
we're paying for web and we're not using it.
Well, it's still, so we haven't paid this, right? This is just an estimate.
We
for what
paid
we're
it
gonna
last
pay
year,
this
we paid for it last year, we just haven't used it.
And this is an estimate for what it's gonna cost us this year.
Yeah.
I think this could probably be treated kind of like the website, where we feel like, you know, we're kind of pot committed here. We're in the middle of, we're at the
Yeah.
very tail end of a long process.
Mm.
But it's, might be worthwhile expending some energy at some point this year before this contract is up, exploring 2 or 3 alternatives to say, should we migrate to a different software?
What's, West Forks are doing,
I can't-
QuickBooks,
You have to ask Denise.
Yeah.
No, she is using QuickBooks, she told me for,
I know I could
tax
learn that.
collecting, she
QuickBooks
gets
is a
like
powerful tool.
It is.
Mm.
Like I said, we
It's
don't
way
talk a
cheaper than
whole
that.
lot of shop. So,
It just can't do the real estate side properly, that's what your wife has told her.
She
So-
said that she gets some sort of information from the taxes, from the assessor, I
It has
guess,
to
and
like
then she,
marry it with the information in
and then
there.
somehow she translates it into a.
I'm sure it's
That's what-
doable, I mean, she does it, so we could do it too, cause we
Yeah.
have the same
she
amount of
doesn't- so
taxpayers.
her meetings are, she doesn't spend as much time as I think you spend on this, all this, from what I understand.
Well, I'm spending more time.
But I know
now.
you're playing catch up, not all that
Right.
stuff,
You
you're
know,
straightening some stuff out.
Like, I was in the office all day.
22.
Right, that's what I mean.
I was in the office all day 2 days ago.
Yeah.
For a, unfiled 941 from 2022,
Oh.
and I did all the research, I found the old one, I reprinted an old one, and come to find out, it had been filed and paid for, but our Trio spits out the wrong year on the forms, it still does that, that's why I print the forms and have to handwrite them.
No.
There are reasons to get rid of Trio, but anyway,
Oh my goodness.
So
so.
the date on the 941 was 22 and it was for 23,
So all I had to do was make a phone call and
They,
get to the right person, and then that threat went away.
Wow,
That's awesome.
and if you had not been diligent, you would have just filed it again and paid it again.
Well, we got a bill the next day from Maine Revenue Services for $750 for non-payment on that thing.
Yes.
But I had just fixed it the day before, so I mean, it was in the mail. So now I gotta call them back and make sure that that's gone, but.
Unbelievable.
so do we have any more new business?
No, I don't.
Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I had one thing, I don't
Oh,
know,
I'm
sorry, but
I,
have we figured out what's going on with pay? When it starts, when it doesn't?
We're not doing that this year.
Yeah,
No, we need you to sign your, W-4s, and and
Yep.
all that jazz in the
Yep.
office. And then, when does their pay start? You guys will give me the payroll whenever.
Well, we just, I don't want to end up next year at the town meeting and even the opportunity for a pay discussion about the fact that for 2 weeks, we were paid while Sandy and Judith were paid.
No, this is what's gonna happen, from my understanding, and Evan can weigh in on Judith. Sandy is done, okay?
She's not requesting payment through July first.
Nope, she
Okay.
is not, she is
That's
done,
I'm good.
and up, as of the 12th, and.
I don't
It's
think
really
Judith
related to
cares
you
either
and Sandy,
way.
not, there was nobody in my seat being paid.
Nobody in your seat, so I'm gonna pay you guys, we're gonna pay you for the number of days that you worked this month. Well, and Sandy will get paid for the 12 days that she worked, and you guys will get paid for the rest, okay? I'll just break down the salary to a daily amount.
Okay,
And
that's
then,
fine, yeah.
you know, add it up for your days and Sandy's days.
And so we know for next year, does that go through 365 days from that day to whenever the town meeting is, when potentially other people are sworn in, to the end?
If
of-
we're smart enough to have our town meeting on the right day, the right week, we can make it work,
No, MMA
right?
said,
We have to think about that.
MMA said your term ends during town meeting and the next person's term begins
Okay,
when you're sworn in.
good, okay.
That's what MMA's
It
legal.
doesn't say calendar year, it says
That's the way
year.
it should be.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you do.
we got a
so.
legal, reading from MMA
Right.
specifically on that topic.
Well, even as a salaried employee, I mean, if we, have an agreed salary for a year, but we only worked 355 days of the 365 days, then you're gonna get paid for that 355
Yep.
days.
Understood.
happened
Even
to
though you were
us.
contracted for, whatever
Right.
it's 10,000,
Yeah.
and you'll get 9,800.
And I'm certainly not worried about nickel and diamond next year, if if there's a transition, where it end. I just wanna make sure we avoid that uncomfortable scenario that happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't anticipate the government, because I don't
That
think any of us are
shouldn't
gonna
be
be,
uncomfortable for anyone, it was only uncomfortable for one person,
I understand,
because she misunderstood.
yeah, alright,
No, that's been resolved. She
Good.
came in today, we had a conversation, it was a good conversation, we shook hands, I think we're good. With Judith, I'm not really sure, because, she is, I think that some of the duties of the tax collector do carry through. And Evan could tell me whether the expectation, if you talked about it from Judith, that she's gonna be paid through the end of the month, and you won't be paid until, as tax collector, until we start July? Or what's your feeling about that?
Well, I told her that I was advocating for them to be paid, but I was uncertain if that was gonna happen. So
Personally, I have.
she doesn't care either way, cause she got that big payout already, so.
So
Well,
if,
can it be on
I
a
mean-
consultant basis?
But,
And not as a tax collector, but on a consultant basis for
I'm not worried
an
about it too
hourly
much
fee
either.
if she's working with him
No,
or
no,
something?
no.
my
That wasn't
personal,
agreed upon, that wasn't,
Well,
I'm
no,
not worried
I
about it,
agree.
if she wants the money, I would forego it for a month, and if she doesn't care, then I would take it.
well, it's
You
not a
could-
month,
you
it's
could
2
assign-
weeks.
yeah.
Two
Whatever,
weeks,
two
so
you
I
could
don't
as-
care.
You could assign her as your deputy for 2 weeks. And
No,
pay her.
no,
Oh,
because
no,
that comes
'cause
out of
then it
his,
comes
no.
out of his, yeah.
Personally,
Well,
Well, she's not coming in and,
it would've, but you're just saying that you don't care, oh, never mind.
the question is simple, do we pay Evan as a tax collector for the last period of June, or do we pay Judith?
I think-
Technically, Judith was no longer the tax collector
That's right.
when Evan took the oath
Right.
of office. However, she is agreeing and has been, she and Evan have a pretty good working relationship. And I think it's beneficial for that to continue for, through the next few weeks, or through the end of June, is what I'm saying.
I mean, she's even said that she would help me, when taxes go out, I don't know if she will or not, but that's sometime in the future where she won't be getting paid, she's
This
just
could be-
offered.
This could be a mess.
I don't know if I'm gonna accept that, I'm only reporting that it's been offered.
I think the townspeople need to know that that happens if it does happen.
Of course.
She is going to get paid after the fact that she's
No, it
no
wouldn't be a
longer-
paid thing, I don't think, it wasn't my
No, but I mean
understanding.
this end of June thing,
Well,
nowhere in our
is that-
town,
Yeah.
town does it say that your your term of office goes until July first.
Well, Sandy's explanation was that it was the fiscal year that she was hired from July
She-
first to the end of June, and, you know, that's not.
That's
That's
not
not
how it
exactly
So,
works.
no.
It would seem to me,
It's
despite
not
the
that.
fact that I would kind of like to, you know, remunerate Judy to some degree because she's agreed to stay on to help, with the transition with Evan. The fact of the matter is she was no longer tax collector of June 12th. We're not paying Sandy, so I guess there's no real reason why we should be paying her either.
And she doesn't
And
help
if she
that
wants to
much.
help you out of the goodness of her heart, then
That's right.
she doesn't have a code to the building, she doesn't have access to email anymore,
Right.
so the only time she's gonna be here
So
is
she's
if
not
Evan's
tax
here.
collector.
Right.
So
No, I think-
why is it any different that we have to pay her and yet you can't pay a deputy without going to town meeting? I mean, how can we pay her if it wasn't voted on in the budget? I mean, you can't do that, can you?
Yeah.
But we certainly don't pay both,
Right,
we're not gonna pay him and Judy.
and she's not the tax collector, so
No, I
how do we
agree.
address the payroll?
What do you guys think, do you think,
I mean, I'm not
saying
being
that we,
vindictive either, it's just a matter
Ah.
of keeping you'd be doing this every year for every position, you know?
no, I
If
think
you
we
set
have to
precedent.
have a standard, Sandy's not getting paid.
Right.
And if she said, oh, I'll come in and help you with this or that,
Right.
great, that's,
So-
I appreciate it, so I'm thinking that,
Trying to remove ourselves from this past experience that we're close to now, I'm trying to think about transitional phases in the future.
Mhm.
Having a
Exactly.
quality amount of time for a handing of the torch, so to speak. So, I don't know how to do that functionally, I don't know if it should be paid, if there should be an overlap, and, you know, if everything goes smoothly and happily, it would be great to have an overlap in responsibilities for 2 weeks to a training period, I don't know.
And you gotta get that
When
But
approved by
if
the
you
town.
vote it down at town
then
meeting,
we'd have
on a
to pay.
close vote, you're not gonna be very happy about coming in here and helping the next guy. I
You're
mean,
right.
I think it
Yeah.
just would be a very variable thing that would.
That's why we have to
So
have
when
policies
I-
and procedures.
Right.
Yeah, let's think
When-
about this.
So when I was hired as a treasurer, I had never done the position before, and Joyce Longley, was unseated, so, basically, my only option was to hire Joyce as a deputy.
Out of your money,
Out of
right.
my paycheck.
Mhm.
Wow.
So I paid her out of my paycheck, and she, helped me for a few weeks.
Okay, so maybe, we make, as we have before, make a motion to strategize around transitions and positions for the future.
Especially when we're on 1-year terms, we should have a good transition policy.
Yeah, certainly,
Because,
yeah,
we do have a revolving door now.
maybe,
I mean, possibly.
yeah, but it does, at least there's the opportunity for an exit for one reason or another.
It's a
So,
good reason to have a policy surrounding transitions.
Yeah, I think that should be something that's prioritized.
Especially now that we have one-year terms.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
But there's many towns that have voted people in for 11 years straight with 1-year
I
terms.
know.
And I think Susan had a really good comment on that. She said, really, when you think about it, it's no different than a 1-year review at work,
Nope,
you know,
yeah, exactly.
in your job.
Same thing.
The 1-year review is
Yearly
a vote.
performance review,
Yeah.
you got it or you don't.
That's right, unless you don't wanna do it anymore.
Have we ended the
Sorry,
meeting
yeah,
yet?
sorry to open that can of worms right as we were trying to
No,
adjourn, but
we have
It's in
not,
the
so I
meeting. I
don't
need to
have
go
a
home.
second on that motion.
I second. All in favor?
Good job.
This was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks for
I've been
coming.
At many assessment meetings in the last 2 years or whatever, and
it's nice to leave
it
smiling,
was
huh?
so professional,
It's
it
the
was
first one
so-
I've come to without.
to
So-
see you work
Oh,
So
so
wait a
together.
second, Dave made a motion to adjourn.
They
and-
voted, I saw them raise their hands.
and
Well, that was
then-
for my motion.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so we
I
just
seconded
need,
and we all agreed.
So our other guests were from the North Shore of Moxie or the North Cove
Well,
of?
North Cove, they're neighbors of Virginia's.
That's why I thought, I said, hey, it's nice to have North Cove representation. They
Yeah, I
said
thought
North
when
Shore.
they corrected you on North Shore, I was like.
I was like, oh,
I've heard
maybe I
it
said
called.
that wrong.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you did.
Okay.
The North Shore Road versus.
And they've
whatever.
never been here before? Have they?
Didn't seem like it.
That was nice.
Very nice.
it was nice.
You know, that's one of our things is to get people. in.
I told him I was gonna bring that to him.
Oh.
I think you
Well,
can
that's why
probably
I
get to
said-
it.
And
Yeah, I
people
guess it
will
probably
come
doesn't need to be in
because all
until-
you do, you're just talking about town affairs
Gentlemen.
and you're not,
Until the first paycheck.
it's not a fight,
I gotta,
you know?
the last time I did one of those by myself without
And what was
talking
their
to my
names? That
wife,
was,
I forget it all up.
It was
If they
Until the next time I wouldn't do it.
Janice and John Woodard.
Janice and John. I think
Mhm.
that's
I have
the
a
guy.
couple of, things that require signature.
Okay,
So it's great.
Okay, yeah, you guys have, W4s and I9s?
They've got them, they're working.
Okay,
yeah, I'm gonna get mine back to you in the near future. It won't
and
be
then
today.
if you could put your phone number on there so that I can pass these minutes on to, the bank, cause they need phone numbers.
For everybody?
Yes,
Okay, I think it looks like
Get
they're all
the
there.
phone number.
If
okay.
ever somebody wants my phone number for business purposes, it would be great to just give them the office number.
Oh, that's what we decided, right? That we were gonna give them the office number?
For the bank, I think that's fine.
Okay, what is the office number, 663?
Actually, I don't know.
Four,
I
four,
was just called
five,
Sandy.
one.
4454.
4454?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Could you say that again?
6634454. I can't believe I know that.
Say call.
I better go
You
look.
work with numbers.
I better go look and make sure that's right. 66344.
Yeah, that's me calling it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh,
I
good,
took a chance. I took a gamble.
that's great.
This is the
Evan,
town.
do you want your number as the town one too?
For the bank?
Yeah,
No, give me my cell phone.
okay, so, and you wrote it there. On that,
I don't know.
It's on here, 949.
Yeah,
Actually, if you're okay, I'm gonna save that.
that's good.
So this is totally off the cuff, but has there been any interest in limiting the number of checking accounts we have at the bank and consolidating some of them?
we kind of started that conversation, I think, before the meeting, but,
That just seems
Yes.
ridiculous.
yeah, I think that,
Oh my god, my handwriting's terrible.
Yeah,
You
that
can't
may-
read that.
that
EEAnders@yahoo.com.
E Anders?
Yeah, but you can't read that shit.
I'll set it up.
As-
goodness,
949-350-1830. I'll send you my information so you have it too. Unless you've already got enough there. I'll text it to you.
and these are just in the interim, I suppose, the email addresses.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything official on my personal email until I have the regular email done. I mean, we can correspond, you know,
Okay,
up to a certain point where a meeting would be necessary.
okay,
but
so tomorrow I'll be calling.
I'm not gonna sign up for MMA or
the
anything like
email
that.
stuff. Okay,
I'm sorry, I'm on this side of the table.
Great job, everyone. It's just
Thank you for
so
coming.
refreshing, so refreshing.
Thank you very much.
It was
agree.
Evan, can you just recite your,
Oh, we didn't
Phone
get the
number.
sand and salt report. Dave, do you
Oh,
have the sand and salt
949.
report?
yeah,
350-1830.
Yeah, whatever Andy wants, he's got it.
so, I can print this now, and then you can, right, you can send this to the bank.
I tried to fix it.
Yeah.
but
I
they said he
miss
messed
the
it all up.
shuffling of papers.
I don't
That's
know
what I
when
miss.
you
I miss the shuffling.
Oh, the folders and stuff?
Yeah, and
Well, I can.
everywhere.
we can
But you
email
never
it to
got
you.
an
I
answer.
have
Goes
some
to
folders
Courtney
here.
Lab.
I need
I
some.
agree.
Oh, yeah, great.
So why
Okay,
don't
the
you
first
send
one
that
is the
to me
official
tomorrow,
ballot
'cause-
For
or
the
do you
Maine
want me to do it
Municipal
right now?
Associations and
I
legislative
think her card's
policies.
sitting on the-
These are these kind of things I'm talking about.
Okay.
Let me see if
Yeah.
I have her,
Um,
let me
Well,
see.
For some
Actually,
reason, we're
didn't
supposed
you
to elect
send
them,
it
it's
to
an
me?
MMA thing.
No,
I
Let me-
elect Liz.
Let me see if I have her
and
email.
Wayne from
Okay,
Solar and
I
Steam
don't
Farm
have
too,
that,
and
I
they
just have.
Yeah,
It's an MMA thing.
I go with the two locals, yeah.
Because we.
Oh, these are gonna be on the community.
Yeah, of the MMA Legislative Policy Committee.
Yep.
And so we're just voting for it, and I'm like, okay. I'm sure if
Does it
we
need to be unanimous, all of us?
No, I don't know what would happen if you wanted to vote for one of those other people. But I'll go with the local folks. Anyway, these are one of these things, it's just constant, you know, stuff. So so those are the MMA Legislative Policy Committee.
Anything else?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
Yep.
He needs that?
yeah. There's a letter.
Ready to sign that?
Yeah, this is a ballot to vote for the legislative policy community,
For the
or
MMA.
committee, for the Maine Municipal Association. There was 3 folks vote for two,
Two.
Elizabeth Caruso and
Who?
Elaine. Those are the two locals, so.
Who's Elizabeth Cruz?
Liz,
Liz Caruso. Oh, okay, I was, wait a minute.
So I'm voting for those two, is that what you're saying?
I guess.
We are voting for those two, if
Oh,
we decide.
we- I
if
mean,
all
they're
three of us-
just gonna
if all
be-
three of us want to.
Gotcha.
It's just an MMA internal
I'm
thing,
not
so.
just-
It's not.
I'm gonna
Okay,
keep
the
playing.
next two documents are a little bit more important. And what these have to do is certification of recommitment, and this is something that needs to be done because of the passing of the baton between tax collectors. And what it does is, you can read it, it basically states the numbers of, has the, still delinquent taxes that he's now responsible for, and the ones that she's collected, and it's certified that she's collected them. And it's a formality with the, tax collector thing.
Okay.
And it's a passing of the baton. And
This is what is delinquent, 14,719.
and that she's no longer responsible for that, you know what I mean? That she's passed baton, that's not
Gotcha.
Evan's responsible.
Susan,
Yeah,
you give me, in this thing, it's got, a translator form and a re-verification or
Picture.
rehire? Is that just these?
That's with the I-9.
Yeah,
Just prove you're a citizen.
well,
You can use
yeah, I don't think
one
you
of
need,
these.
you don't need this,
I don't need this one, I just
No.
need this one, correct?
that's right.
That's what I was, okay.
Yeah.
So then you just
That,
need
right,
two,
that
like
just
the
needs to get thrown
documentation.
away, exactly.
Okay, that's what I wanna make sure. Would you double check
Same
that,
thing.
make sure I did that right?
Yeah.
I just want
It's
regular
similar.
taxes taken
Yeah,
out.
this
and
one has
with
the-
Oh,
$25
$25 more,
Certificate of
okay,
settlement.
But it's asked me for both, on this page
Okay,
and
yeah,
that page. right?
that's because this is state and this is federal.
Oh, okay, perfect,
Yeah, okay, yeah,
okay.
so you're gonna have
Basically just
$50
says you
every
went
pay
from the
period
That's
because you're
fine.
doing 25,
Yeah, they
25.
Yep.
No, I know, when they used to us too.
Okay. I'll go get my wallet and I'll give you some ID.
This is just the transition of tax collector duties from Judith
To Evan.
to Evan. So
And
that we are declaring that Evan is now responsible to collect those delinquent taxes, and this is the balance of those.
Okay.
Can you take a, photo of my license while you're at it?
Yeah,
Actually, I can give you that right now.
and
You
I
have
will
it
do
on
mine
file.
as well, cause I needed to do, I didn't have my own.
That way you have it when I get those documents to you.
We didn't ever even fill out W-9, or W-4s, whatever.
No, we're just catching up, we're just doing ours now.
Oh, you got it, or photocopies, I guess, works too.
Oh, wait, I was gonna take a picture, is that what you wanted me to do?
Whatever's clear for you, I don't know, do you want digitally,
Go get my
is there a
wallet.
copier?
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, any more signatures?
Yep.
I'll be right back.
now?
I'll be in the office.
This one was that, right, that's the main thing?
Those, there's that. I think that goes to Susan.
Yep.
Okay, now. Okay, so this is how, the process right now works. It seems to be pretty sound. So what happens is,
Give me just 1 second.
Sure.
Come back before you start getting into it.
Yep.
How many documents do you think there are to sign?
We can sign more.
yeah, 2.
Maybe some back hydration, I'm good.
Yeah, we gotta just make sure we keep that refrigerator filled with water.
All right, I'm all ears.
Okay, this is,
Is that something I need to pay attention to as well?
yeah, you probably should. We don't necessarily need 3 signatures on this, okay? So what this is an AP warrant, and this is where, that's just an extra copy, because the first time Evan did it, it had these, and you'll see, and then this, here you'll see, it's got items. So this is just like the first copy, he's keeping it in there because it's all this about records. But this is a duplicate. So what this, he generates this from, these bills that come in here. And what happens is Susan, Sandy and I, or two people have to initial these bills. So I've done it, this is our consolidated. You know, it's pretty
That's
straightforward.
good, I'm gonna turn
You
this
say,
thing
okay,
off, I kind of forgot.
Two assessors. have
Two
to-
assessors, did I
Not
skip?
you and,
And that's
not
our-
you and the tax collector.
No, two assessors have to sign
And
this.
that's transposed onto here.
Yes, right, but, so I just need somebody to initial this. So I did it myself,
Okay.
because we needed to get these
Do you,
done.
do you wanna go through those and see